Welcome everyone, you're listening to and perhaps watching Call the Audible. I'm your host, Pease Reese. Joining me in studio is Iggy Magnets.
With one milk.
With one milk. How's your milk?
Technically black.
Yes, I want black this week.
Just to make sure that you would get your coffee and not get a milk instead?
Just get a warmer coffee. The milk made it cold last week.
Got
I
it.
wanted the warmer.
Mine's cold because it took me a while to get here, unfortunately. not a while to get here, a while to park the car.
Yeah, it snowed a lot.
Yeah. And of course, we're in part of town where they never remove the snow. There might still be snow from last year.
The armpit of Montreal,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
Smoke alludes to.
Factual. I'm gonna take this off because I can't hear anything.
Again?
Not
God
working
damn it.
again. I'm gonna bring my headset next week, and I think this wire is particularly bad. So I heard, also Eagle's here. Hi, Eagle.
Hello. I was playing with audio effects earlier. It was very funny.
I had I heard a conversation today, and it got me thinking about, because the way we consume media is really different from how it was in the past. Like before, like if a show was popular on Wednesday nights, on Thursday everyone would talk about it, right? And there are still sort of like culturally significant shows, like for example, like The Last of Us is the thing that's like the thing everyone's watching, thing everyone's been.
Isn't it
talking
White
about.
Lotus?
White Lotus was before that. and
Okay.
So like there's tends
I'm already
to be
late
one
on
show at a
White.
time,
I'm
right?
already late on White Lotus.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, you and I are doing too many things, and we're missing everything.
Yes. Okay.
Is what's happening. But so, and I started thinking about this. What's like the appropriate amount of time where you can discuss spoilers? And I feel as though the more popular the show, the shorter the time is. Whereas you would
Yeah.
think it's the opposite, right? Because like you'd be like, well, everyone's gonna watch it, and like, oh no, but wait, don't say anything. Listen, after 3 days, it's already been on the internet, it's on Twitter, there's
Right,
memes
it's
about it.
Yeah.
You gotta have your shit together for the top shows. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So I was thinking, popular shows, popular movies, it's got to be like
Shorter.
within a couple of days, and then if it's like a niche show, maybe a year or two.
I think it also depends on the audience of who you're talking with. Like, for example, if I said, hey, did you watch the latest episode of Last of Us? And you go, no, I haven't watched it yet. Oh, I'm clearly not going to spoil it for you,
For sure, but like let's say in my office, there's myself, a good friend of mine, and another dude that we're good friends with too, who all like.
Wait, you have a job?
What?
You have a job outside of FEF?
Yeah, I do.
Traitor.
I know, it sucks. Hey, listen, my services are available if you could pay me more. But and they were talking about Last of Us, right? And I thought, well, I can't say like, guys, stop talking about it, because like it's not fair to them. They want to have this conversation. I don't want to leave the room because I'm chilling with some friends, and it's my responsibility to watch it, knowing that we all played the video game. We all like similar stuff. So like, obviously,
The expectation is that you've seen it.
the expectations on me to have watched it, right?
I think there's also an element of, because you're already aware of the plot and the story, it's not as spoilery as it would be for someone who doesn't know anything around it.
That's not true. That's even more spoiler. You're so invested, you don't want to.
Yeah, but you want to know how they did it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. But it's not like, I'm going to use a dated example here. Oh, I didn't know Darth Vader was Luke's father type of thing,
Gross.
right? Like,
You gotta say spoilers first.
Hey.
50 years, okay? That's
But that would be a good
spoilery.
one, right? Like, if Star Wars came out today, and that scene happened, within a week, all over Twitter, there's gonna be Luke, I am your father memes, right?
Oh, for sure.
So like, it's on you. Like, if something is culturally significant, because or else you have no pop culture, right? Like, pop culture's
I immediately imagined the Maury meme.
yeah, be pretty good.
In the case of Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, you are the father.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And it's
That's
just
not bad.
Padme's ghost. I fucking knew it, you little degenerate bitch.
SNL would have done a Jerry Springer thing.
Yeah.
Where yeah.
Obi-Wan comes out, they fight.
I like it.
Wait, let me laugh again.
Yeah, stop.
No.
No one wants to
you're
hear
going to
it.
do that thing.
So
Oh, because I put it on mute, that's why.
in Division 4, what we've talked about this many times, and I think now we got to make a final decision on this. Is Ryan Caruth a good quarterback? Because it's like he should be, right?
Can I still be on the fence?
No. We listen. This is sports media. We got to be definitive. even if we're proven wrong, we gotta like dig our feet into it, no matter what.
Well,
Okay, so wait, let's talk about the problem that you see in Ryan Caruth's game. Like, where is your worry when it comes to his gameplay?
statistically or the eye test?
Either one.
I don't
Make me an argument as to why we're talking about this. Why is this a problem?
It can't be from the stats. 11-1 TD to INT ratio is somehow the new norm, as Pease has alluded to, which is crazy. 60% completion, can't complain with that. Like that's kind of the
11-1
minimum.
is not the new norm.
What?
11-1 is not the new norm.
It shouldn't be, but it almost is. It's close to it.
How so?
But like that's incredibly high.
Yeah.
And like
But I don't think most quarterbacks are throwing 11-1.
no, not the
That's
new
what the norm means. It's like the Mendoza line thing again. You're getting it wrong.
But it used to be 5-1, 6. Like I'm seeing 7-1, 8-1, like more and more often.
And this is a guy who's been largely a 3-1 guy.
Right.
His
Yes.
career.
Always racks up the yards. So actually, I'm surprised 439 after 3 games. That's actually not as high as he usually gets. 60% completion percentage is, I think, okay. It's good, but
So you played like half a game against Ludenau?
yeah, true.
Because they
true,
were
true.
late?
They were late,
Or
yeah.
They
That's
didn't have 5 players
so it's
till
like
later
2.5 games worth of stats.
Yeah.
Look, 11.3. That he's gonna like get that all the time in his yards per completion, and 112 though for his QBR is I'd say it's probably if you scroll down, Eagle probably above his career average.
So far, it's the early on. It's
Yeah.
the best season in his career.
Now he forces the ball too much to Alex Bacalani.
Yeah.
He's been doing
Mapiguara.
in the one game I saw in the first game of the season. I think it was against In and Out. He was doing a great job of spreading that ball, and really not doing the classic Ryan Caruth thing of just feeding and hitting, just knowing where he's going with the ball prior to the snap of the ball. He was doing a great job of it, and I'm like, okay, so we might have a new Ryan Caruth in town. Now that was aided by. Don't have the name on hand here, but
Suresh?
yes,
Yeah.
he
Who's been on the team now a couple of years.
maybe
In a couple of
out.
iterations, he's been on the team.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
like it's obviously made the team better. One
Yeah.
things I've noticed is, so you know how I infuriate you sometimes where I don't throw the ball hard when I should. He does the opposite.
yes, he throws
Everything's
it
a
hard
fastball.
all the time.
Yeah, and you don't need to, especially like a crossing route where it's wide open in front of the receiver.
Yeah.
You don't need to drill them on their back shoulder.
So there's a small difference between throwing the ball hard on every play, which I believe you
should
have
throw
to
it hard
do,
every play, but you
but
shouldn't
not
overthrow.
You
it
don't
every
have
play.
to rocket it
Yeah.
in like he does. You don't need that. I did that by accident yesterday on Break X. You
Yes.
know the bubble hook on the snapper.
Yeah.
I launched it at the snapper, and I had the drag caught it, and I'm like, "Oh, that wasn't for you." And he just caught a bullet on a drag, and I'm like, "Yeah,
Well, at least it worked out.
yeah, it worked out." Anyways, so there's a subtle difference there. I we were talking off air. I babied in a pass, and it got picked off, and I'm like, ugh, it's infuriating. The one thing I keep saying is you can't baby any passes in FPF. They will get either tipped because your receivers are expecting a harder ball, or defenders are just too good. They're gonna make breaks on the ball. They're gonna be able to pick it
And
off.
for receivers too, it sucks to be waiting for a ball.
Yes.
And feeling defenders closing in on you.
Yes.
But yeah, so I think selecting the right pass
Yes.
for the right situation. Like, yes, hammering in a hook when someone's hanging off your receiver's back is important.
Yeah.
But again, drilling it into the back shoulder when someone's running into the open field is not necessary.
Mhm.
Or like, a pass where like instead of putting it sort of up, over, and then falling into your receiver's hands on the intermediate route, throwing it as hard as you can 9 feet in the air where someone's to make a jumping catch is much more difficult.
Yeah.
And
That said, in that week one win against In and Out, I only saw one bullet pass, and it needed to be a bullet pass over
Well,
the
I feel
middle,
like-
over the middle 12-yard in.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that, and one of the refs and I were like, that was a fastball, and it needed to be, and it was.
Oh, because when he needs to, it's there. Like
Yeah, and
he's
it
one
was-
of the hardest throwers I've seen.
But he was delivering touch passes and that rainbow arc of a deep ball like the Russell Wilson type. He looked like he changed up his.
Well, that's
his
why I brought it up,
decision-
because we've
his decision.
debated Ryan Krug. I remember again for the new listeners to the podcast, the first time I ever saw him play, I saw this guy throwing in the field next to us. I was like, well, that guy's a Div 1 quarterback, clearly.
Yeah.
And then I found out later the team was in like Div 4 or something, and I was like,
Same division as you.
what?
Yeah.
Why? How is this possible?
Yeah, yeah.
And then his teams have at times struggled to find success, and it's largely been based on sort of subpar performances from him, which, looking through the Division 4 results so far, I was impressed to see. No, dude's playing really well, and again, the counting stats don't even look as good as they actually are because he didn't play half a game.
Yeah,
he didn't play half a game. So one game where you only attempt 10 passes, it's there's not a lot you can do in that, and he had 8 completions, 4 of them went for touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, I mean-
That's a very Ryan Carruth stat line.
Well, against Udinot, that's gonna be they're excellent athletes, but they're very disorganized. I played them this week. They're gonna allow a lot of points this season. In Division 4,
Yes.
they're gonna allow a lot of
Yeah.
points. They'd be great Division 16,
Mm-hmm.
but the Division 4 everyone knows too much about the game in the division, and they don't know enough about it yet.
And then you're a step behind or two, in that case. Yeah.
So the other team that caught my eye where I was curious about whether we can define any weaknesses like we had in years past with Ryan Krug versus now is the Reed. Like if we're in Division 4, if you're looking at a team like the Reed, who I consider along with Kiss My In-Laws to be amongst the favorites.
Well, where do they fall in your power rankings? They're
I mean, they're not my power rankings. They're Iggy's power rankings.
they're my power rankings.
I think they were first, if I'm not mistaken.
They were number 1.
Yeah.
So for I guess for a specific reason, so we're gonna maybe challenge those reasons or back the number 1 ranking that they got.
I've been impressed with them since they came onto the scene in FPF. There's parts of them that remind me of teams like Blue Dreamers and Fourth and Schlong. They're just really good, fast football players, right? Like
they're those teams plus.
Yeah.
Like they have that little bit extra. I mean, I don't know about you, and I put it on the Facebook group. I tried building my team to beat the Reed. Like I look at this as the
I
contending.
tried building my team to barely fit into the division. So what happened?
different GM constructs here.
Well,
but,
I didn't have a choice.
but like I'm looking at them as the contender. Yeah. They are the team to beat. So I tried to build a team to beat it.
Well, Santino Sperania has the new normal of 11 touchdowns to 1 interception.
I'm telling you, it's
No,
a thing.
The touchdown interceptions across FPF have been wild to start the season.
Yeah.
Like, man, it's
really cool.
It's competitive out here.
But it's scary. It's cool but scary at the same time.
His completion percentage again. The counting stats you're looking at are 60% and 4-1. Right? He's smashing the 4-1. Obviously, the completion percentage is there. He has the ability, the elite ability to run. It's actually 12-1 because he has a rushing touchdown also. But he has that elite ability to run. So like, it helps him not throw as many interceptions because like less mobile quarterbacks. Look, when there's nothing there, the choice is take a sack or have to fit it into a space where you're not comfortable. And sometimes on 3rd and 4th down, it's not the right time to take a sack in those moments. You know what I mean? And so you have no choice but to throw a ball that's 50-50 or into a space that you probably wouldn't on 1st or 2nd down. Santino Sperania can run on anybody.
How do you feel about him rushing on the team? I mean, he's a great rusher, don't get me wrong, but already 4 sacks on the season. But how do you feel about, is that potentially a weakness that, especially with a team that runs a hurry-up offense, I'll do that on purpose on a team like this.
Same.
I will make him run and run and run and run until he's holding every breath.
Yeah. I mean, the thing too is like,
So
especially
watch
with an athlete who is as young as he is, he doesn't notice that he's tired, right? Like he won't exhibit.
Right. Yeah.
In his mind, he'd be like, "No, I'm fresh, I'm good."
Yeah.
But it will slow him down a little bit.
A
You know what I
step.
mean? It will slow him down a step. It'll maybe affect the way that attrition we'll get to might be in decision making. It might be so. Yeah, to your point, if he's going to chase either a mobile quarterback all day or play against a hurry up offense that's going to run 35, 36, 40 plays on him, that might be challenging for him.
Yeah. So I mean, the counter to that, obviously, his defense. If they can create more turnovers, limit the number of plays that he's rushing. Obviously, guys, Dawson Pierre.
They added Dawson Pierre, which is
he was there last year in Division 5.
Oh, that's true.
Crazy.
But didn't he miss part of the season?
No, he was there, and he had back-to-back pick sixes against Los Bandidos. He was definitely there. Four back-to-back pick sixes. That stays in your mind.
I remember him missing some games. Yeah,
Oh,
he played 7 games. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he played more than I thought.
He was in the finals. Yeah, he was there.
And Dawson Pierre now with some more flag experience has become,
A monster.
I think, dominant player. Like he's, that's
Jeff-
who should be in Div 1.
Jeff Rosenblatt threw with him for like a game or two, and he's like, "Yeah, I want this guy on my team. He's he's legit." Yeah,
he's very good. And again, it's guys like Michael Gattuso aren't as well known. Tristan Norris is excellent. The other Eagle is
the real
really
the
too,
buff
but
Eagle,
Alex D'Aquila.
the buff Eagle.
I'm back at the gym. Just wait.
The if like again, the question posed is there a weakness? I don't think so. The one thing is again the construct of having your quarterback rush. I don't think is ideal.
No.
So maybe, and that's like we're stretching.
We're pulling.
We're looking for something to you know.
Could you suggest that they don't have the most flag experience? They only have about 2 seasons.
They're so
maybe?
good in the final, though, man.
Yeah, I know. Against an experienced team like Balls Deep, right?
Yeah, they were just better. They were just better.
Yeah,
like Simard coming across the back, like coming across deep to pick off that ball.
it stands out, right?
Like it's a play that it's forever etched in my memory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I called that play and I remember seeing it and I was like, from the elevated angle we had, I didn't think there was a chance he gets there.
Yeah.
Like the amount of ground they can cover, they're good. They're gonna be tough. They're gonna be
Absolutely.
And that's why Mo was saying our Bruins to the class of Division 4. Like, don't you stop watching
Mo.
FPF in
Oh my
2009 or 2019 or something?
So we'll wrap it up here, but where do you see their first loss, if any, on their schedule?
As soon as I navigated away from
Oh,
the page.
I'm sorry. Could be 0.
Cunning stunts are good.
Yes.
Cunning stunts are really good.
Yes. It could come there.
That's the
Could.
one.
Yeah. Okay.
Cunning stunts, Diamond Bougie if they figure everything out by then, because I feel like they're a little inexperienced and it's showing a little bit so far this season. They're still good. Like they're still competitive in every game.
Yeah.
But like, I think they thought they were going to be great instantly in Division 4, and it's taking a second, which is fine. They'll be good. They'll be a good team.
Yeah. They could be just as athletic as the REIT, but like the one that you just can't is Dawson Pierre. You just can't. Like that one you can never match up against.
Blue Dreamers if Barazzoni protects the ball.
Yeah.
They can match up physically.
I mean, it should be fun. Like they know each other. They're like most of the team know
It's
each other.
the whole St. Leonard Cougars
Yeah.
alums. That would be it. So Mo asked this question because he helped us out with the script today.
Yeah.
And you and I both played against Timoko Sanogo
Of Mofos. Yeah.
And
Eagle, say that.
there's a bunch of teams, by the way.
Timoko Sanogo
Of Mofos.
Of
of
Mofo.
Mofo.
It's whenever I don't know a team name in FPF, I just call them Mofos because they were a team that showed up. I think we played against them with the first ever game in FPF.
Yeah, week 1 last year.
Or week 2. It was like early in the season. And like they were good. They were really good
They
considering
crushed you.
that really didn't play flag before. And so whenever I see that now, I just call them Mofos because that team just stuck out in my head.
Yeah.
Both the team name and the experience. So I played against him early on. Let me give you a breakdown what I saw when we played against him the first time
Last
year, and then you tell
the
me
progression.
how relevant that analysis is.
Go for it.
Elite athlete.
Still.
I don't think that went away.
Yeah, no, still there.
Impossible. Very difficult to catch in the open field.
Yes.
He's a return man in U Sports, playing for Calabang.
It shows. Yeah.
Kind of the same way like we talked about Kwesi Gordon Mall when he was at
Yes.
Concordia.
It's a great comparison.
Because
like
he was a return man for Concordia, right?
The shiftiness, yeah.
Shifty and straight line speed, he has both.
Yeah.
He has the same kind of arm I've seen in like Seo Living, where he can throw it across the field, but it never leaves 10 feet off the ground.
Yes, yeah. It just keeps
So
going
rock.
and going and
Yeah.
going, and you think it's coming down, and it's not. It's still traveling in the air. Yep.
Yeah, and
Yep.
it always looks like it's heading upwards.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Um,
That's still true.
And he throws the ball really hard.
Yep.
When I played him,
Yes.
he threw deep too often.
Still the same.
Yeah, so he doesn't have a complex offensive system.
Yeah.
It's reliant on his athleticism and the athleticism of his team, which, by the way, they have.
Yeah.
It's just that when
Julian.
they face a thing like the REIT or Blue Dreamers or teams like that, what beats those teams is scheme.
Yes.
It's scheme and being able to manage situations, and that's what I don't think they have yet.
Yeah.
But when they do, we talked about this with Jules Regenbald of Diamond Bougie, right? Like
Mhm.
when he gets that, that's not stoppable.
Which he's getting
But
there.
yeah, exactly.
'Cause it's now 2.5 seasons under
2.5
his
seasons, and
belt.
he's moved up every season, and he's
Yeah.
learning quickly.
Yes.
It's not like he's moving up a division. Oh no, this is too hard. Like
No.
he's
no,
moving
no.
up and getting better,
having
and
success.
Sonogo reminds me of that.
Here's my issue with your analysis. They're not going to figure that out if they're not listening to the show until probably about week 11, because the next few games they have, I don't see a secondary that'll punish him as much as when we get to Friends with Danny, a team like that will.
Martin Leflag,
You think?
Yeah.
they're really good.
Yeah.
Like
They're number 2 in the
they're-
power rank.
They're the thing that we're talking about in terms of just
Scheme.
smart flag teams.
Yep.
They beat Nomads. It was happening during my game, so I caught bits and pieces.
Okay.
Nomads are a very experienced team, but the defense is not they're better offense than they are defense.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that played kind of to their benefit.
Beat Bruins.
But Martin Leflag Eagles in 3 games have allowed 47 points. But Bruins don't have a good defense.
I understand, but
Martin Leflag have a legitimate defense.
but they have the athleticism
Yeah,
the Bruins defense do to compete with the athleticism of Mofos.
sure.
And a little bit of scheming and
Yeah.
a cover 3 essentially
Yeah.
should beat Mofos.
Yeah.
And yet it was an 9-point game, 2-possession game.
Yeah.
That's pretty good against an more experienced team than them. So he's doing something right. So your comparison of his progression is you mentioned a name I already forgot.
I was saying that
And that he could
I
have
think
success.
he's going to follow the same path as Jules Regenbald. The
Right.
difference is Jules Regenbald's played 3 back-to-back seasons.
Yeah.
This is his second season.
I see a lot of similarities in the raw skill set of Ben McMahon.
Yeah.
Right? The running, the deep ball, the hard throw.
Ben has a different kind of deep ball though. He has more of the rainbow
arc?
ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I think once Ben got the short game of flag involved, he
Ben still takes too many shots. He'll admit it.
maybe,
He'll admit it.
but he's learned to check it down on the 2-yard hook on the sideline to Chris Cole Antonio, and he sees that it gets 8 yards at a time. Okay, I'll take those.
Yeah.
Sonogo needs to, and he at the end of our game in week 1, he's like, "Oh, you have a nice little playbook there, like that's nice." I'm like, "Yeah, we'll talk. Like,
works.
I can share some things." Yeah, I'm
Again,
like, "Yeah, you go deep too often,
I
and
think
your
we
deep."
say if we can do it, anybody
Yeah.
can do it, right?
I'm like, you go a little deep too often, and your defense is playing 10 yards back.
yeah. So the game against Bruins, Chris Verrill threw 3 interceptions. So
Chris Vero of Bruins.
Of
Oh,
Bruins,
it
yeah.
wasn't Gab Wiseman
it
throwing.
wasn't Gab Wiseman.
Gotcha.
Gab
Yes.
Wiseman, he threw 1 game for them.
Has tennis elbow, golf elbow, one of the elbows.
One of the elbows is an
Yeah.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah,
Funny elbow.
You want to
Funny,
have
yeah.
you want to have no elbows is the key. just
No
a straight
elbow.
line from shoulder to hand.
That explains it. Kudos to Vero though for putting up 24 on a good defense, athletic defense.
But Sonogo didn't really run that game. He didn't run at all that game.
Mhm. Except for the 2-point convert,
Yeah,
right?
I would imagine.
He seems to run for one every
Yeah.
game. Yep.
And he used all of his receivers. He's doing a lot of really good things.
Yep.
But 12 for 23, right? So to me, it's not taking what's there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah.
He's just not taking what's there. That's I think he can improve on. And I think that lesson comes against Martin Laflag.
Yep.
That's a game I'm not picking Mofos.
Yeah. Same.
Which I'll probably forget and then pick Mofos when we get the games
Probably,
next
yeah.
week. So we talked about this a little bit. The playoff format. We'll talk more about playoff formats as we get further into the season. But
Yeah.
Div 4 actually has a really interesting playoff format.
Really cool one. Yeah.
Eagle, do you want to explain it since like that's kind of your
Your
thing?
wheelhouse.
So actually, I'm gonna bring up the
Like
website
I
for
understand
this.
it, but maybe explain it for Iggy.
Yeah, I don't get it. I'm playing in the division, but I don't get it.
We got to get a graphic for this to figure it all
we'll,
out.
We'll get it as the season goes on for sure.
But essentially, it's what I'll describe as a bracket style where 24 of the 29 teams are going to qualify for playoffs. And then you end up in this really intense bracket structure, essentially, where the 9th place team is going to play the 24th place team and then all the way down the stack to get to 16-17 matchup. And then based off of that, those winners will then go into divisional round where the top 8 are going to play the next version of them and then so on and so on and so on.
Because they had a bye.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
they had
gotta
a bye in the wild card round.
Exactly. So what's happening in Division 4 here, which I find really interesting, is that you're going to see matchups which, because there's so many teams that you haven't likely played that team of, and we're not really looking at divisional breakdowns in the usual way when it comes to these brackets. So there's going to be a lot of fresh matchups that are going to happen, or at least we hope, in this structure because of the number of teams that are going to qualify, which I think will make for a really fun playoff run.
So if you go to the division standings, then just because, for example, Ludenau are 0-2 and last in their division doesn't mean, and they're colored in red, doesn't mean that they're not going to be in the playoffs.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's just the bottom 8 teams across the board that don't make it, right?
No, the 5 worst teams.
Yes.
So 5 worst teams. Right?
Yeah,
My
25
mistake.
to 29.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 worst.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. A lot of teams
Yeah.
make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But it makes it a really interesting thing. One thing I would do want to say though is like if we look at this as sort of if we were to imagine this as like a World Cup sort of situation where you would look at sort of the different groups, right? Because they are labeled groups. They're not subdivisions.
Yes.
Who are we looking at as the group of death in Division 4? You said no one, but I actually have.
You have a
my-
candidate?
My opinion is starting to get formed. I have a couple of suggestions.
I think I'll go with one. I'll go with Group F. Trap Stars, Balls Deep, Blue Dreamers,
That was
Ball
one of
Don't
mine.
Lie.
Yeah. That was one of the ones I thought.
No one's a bad team there.
No.
Despite the records, Blue Dreamers and Ball Don't Lie combining for like a 2-3 record. That's not bad.
But if you look at the plus minus, all those teams, no one's getting blown out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one.
Okay. What else?
I think Group G is definitely interesting as well with Diamond Bougie, Heartbreak Kids, Golden Eagles, and Vultures. Vultures are the outlier right now, and they only played one game, and it didn't go super well, but I'm expecting them
That's
to
one game,
rebound
right? Like
somewhat. And so I can see them, if they were to catch up, be in, again, the 1-2, 2-1 range for sure, and probably close in on that plus minus.
3 to 4 range.
You think?
Yes. It's not Ben McMahon throwing.
So?
Phil
Shots fired. Shots
Phil
fired.
Roberts giving it a try. I love it. But Division 4's really, really hard. For your first season in FPF, he threw in MFL for the lower divisions there. Some mediocre success, not even, blowing out competition.
Yeah.
FPF's Division 4 is just another animal.
I kind of like Group E as well. Martin Laflamme, Cunning Stunts, Wide Open
Yes.
Bar.
Yeah.
Les Jet Plan are good too. Like
Not
they're
bad.
1-2 record, but like
Not bad.
they're athletic. They I think they can get better as the season goes on. They have a little bit of experience, but they're not one of the more experienced teams of the division. Lucy has played before. If they can create some turnovers and just take some pressure off the offense, I think they'll be good.
Yeah, Hugo Lucier and the other guy who really stands out. There's two, Wensley Laflade and William N.K.
Yeah.
Those two. But that's just, to me, not enough in the division or for a team to be
For
competitive.
sure, but like if they're the worst team in the division, they're not gonna have a lot of rough outings. I don't think. I think they're gonna be in every game. And if they're the worst team of the 4, that's what makes the group of death, right?
Well, I'll just say that Ball Don't Lie, the 4th best team in Group F, is facing off against Jet Plan would beat them.
Yeah.
It would be close. I agree. It wouldn't be a blowout, but I think they're a better team, making Group F the strongest of all the.
So there are options. They're not.
You can argue it. Yeah, you can argue it, and I'd be curious to hear you out, like I was.
Like I think Ludenau are going to struggle in their group. I think In and Out will struggle in their group. I don't know why the Sheriff is struggling.
Damn. It's Louis Bégin, 6 interceptions,
Yeah.
thrown, 4 pick sixes.
Yeah.
doesn't set you off in the right foot for games.
Yeah.
I was surprised they lost to Bébé Magique.
Yeah. That was a surprising
That
result.
was an eye opener. Yeah,
It just but so why is he throwing all these interceptions?
I guess non-timely aggression, just over aggression, perhaps. He's another one of those Ryan Caruth type, where he fires in every single ball, where like it doesn't necessarily need to be fired in. Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, look, we hope best of luck for them moving forward.
Yeah.
I do think those are the group.
They need to turn it around quick though, because they've got the Bruins next and then kiss my in-laws.
Yeah.
They could be seeing an 0-5 start at midway.
I think
at the midway
Bruins are a
point.
defense where Louis Bégin can excel.
Yep.
If he doesn't take too many chances. which is what
that's
he's
it.
doing.
Yes, exactly.
So are the IG team and Coed 2 the cream of the crop, or are they potential false kings? False kings, for those new to the procedures. The way Iggy and I met was I referred to his team as false kings, because they were very successful, but they weren't beating any teams that we considered to be of quality, or to be like serious competition in the division.
And this was later proven statistically by comparing their wins against adversaries versus the wins by or the losses by that team to see were they actually quality wins or not. And the answer was
False king.
false kings.
So
look here, they've played Hungry Hippos. They won a fairly close game. They played Flamingos. They won a close game, and Flamingos have been getting blown out otherwise. They played Deep Balls. So okay, I thought that game would be close, and they
20-point win.
They won that one
handedly,
easily.
Yeah.
But so, given all that information, they're going up against now bench warmers. Then they have Fit Squad and Villains back to back to back.
That's tough.
Yeah. So, do we expect them to be? What do you expect the record to be when they finish there?
Well, out of those three, I like 1 and 2 out of those three, which would put them at 4-2 record.
I think that's a success. Like that's kind of the successful first half of the season, right? Like
it is, but is it cream of the crop? I'd say no.
I don't think so. Like Jordanson, Alexi's been great. Jeansley, we've both been very impressed with him.
Yeah,
right
we
off
talked
the
about
bat.
it last week. Yeah.
But it's one of these teams where I'd like to see Gabriel Poisson get more involved in the offense, for example. So, yeah, I think the female talent has not yet gotten
Developed.
incorporated.
Yeah.
I'm curious too. Like, I wonder if this is called the IG team. I wonder if this is in reference to Emmanuel Acho calling Justin Herbert an IG quarterback.
Yeah. That's what I immediately thought of as well.
That's the first thing I thought of too.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that is going to that can take them to the next level. Is if they really become versatile and can hurt you from 5 players across on the offense, right? Like from each position on the offense. I could have found a better way to say that, but I use a lot of words to say not that much.
Diversify your receiving portfolio.
Yeah, throw to more people. And you see it too. Like you see, in terms of the targets, there's 26 targets going to Jordanson Alexi and Shandy Louis Jacquette, and that's of the 53 passes. So 50% of the time he's going to 2 receivers.
I mean, a good defenses will take that away. As easy as that sounds, it's not easy to do, but defenses will.
He's going to bench warmers are good defense.
Yes.
Fit squad are good defense.
Yes. So they'll do as much possible to get and force Jeansley to spread out his offense elsewhere, and that's where we're gonna see whether IG team have the ability to
win. Who's
win.
the win?
Huh?
Who's the win?
In my 1 and 2?
Yeah.
I don't. I
have one. I think it's Villains.
Okay.
I think Villains are similar, like in strength, and like that's a game where I can see going either way.
Yeah.
I think benchwarmers and
Fit Squad
are gonna be tough for them specifically.
You know what's interesting about this stat line specifically? In that between Jordanson, Alexi, and Shandy Louis Jacquette, you said the 26 targets essentially is about 50% of all of them.
Yeah.
They've only caught half of their targets. So if you're looking at them from a roster perspective, they're responsible for 25% completion rate, which is
But that's
It's
isn't
not
that
great.
isn't that all the more reason to use more of your receivers?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you're throwing the guys who are not always open then. Or you're throwing downfield too often. Whatever it is, whatever is leading to the lack of efficiency, you have to address that.
Yes.
You know.
I totally agree.
I think one of the ways you can address it is by going to other players. We talked about Fit Squad.
Yeah.
Are they you asked the question.
I
But
did.
you asked in the most Mo Khan way ever. Are they for real at 3-0?
Like, are Fit Squad good?
Yeah.
I did a thing. You know what I did? Are Fit Squad good? I mean, look, hey, of course they're good. They're 3-0. Why are they not in first place? Probably the points against by 2 points that they've allowed more than the IG team. But they faced off against Villains. I saw that game a bit on Saturday night. Pretty much a clash of offenses going back and forth. Fit Squad, of course, coming up 7 points ahead on that one. So yeah, they played against better offenses, the Fireball offense, the Villain offense. So whatever, they allowed two more points, so they're in second place. This is, to me, one of the contending teams for Co-Ed 2. Looking at the record, let's see, 4, 5, 6,
What are you
7,
counting?
8, a 9-1 record
Yeah, I can see that.
is my prediction.
I can see. I mean, they're obviously going to beat Kismayan Zone, but
Yeah.
other than that,
Yeah,
that rivalry is going strong.
Yeah,
Uh,
they could go 10-0.
the Laurence Pomprin and Alexandra Falconcourt, I've talked about a lot.
Yeah,
To
that
me,
duo. Yeah,
they're an amazing part of this receiving core. They're useful on. They're not particularly great defensive players, but they're useful on defense. They're to me primarily offensive options who
yes, agreed.
are not. They're not a hindrance on
Liabilities,
defense.
yeah,
they're
they're
not
not-
liability.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you mix in a lot of the other things that they have. Gerard Pira uses his body well. You have Hugo Lepin's speed. I don't know why he doesn't always rush. He should always be the rusher because he's a really good rusher.
Yeah, they put William Brouin sometimes to rush as well. You're again another quarterback
It's a weird
rushing.
decision.
Yeah,
And it's not like they don't have a good rusher. They do. Have
he's
good
not
rusher.
all speed, Hugo Lipin. He's more of that. He's like the hands in the air, takes like lanes away. In
But
my opinion.
that's important.
Of course it is.
That's important.
I'm not downplaying it. I'm upselling that for anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it can change how you cover the team.
I-
How you range your coverage.
I prefer that kind of rusher than sending William Brouin at me.
Yeah.
Sending William Brouin at me is a
No
waste of time.
impact. Yeah.
Just I'm telling you right now, Fit Squad, Don't-
When you're playing Kiss Man Zone.
don't. There's no point.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That said, on the subject of William Brouard, I didn't know much about him until we faced him last year in the playoffs. I came away really impressed.
Well, he won QB of the year for this regular season
Yeah.
he had. So obviously statistically he put up great numbers. But yeah, you're saying the eye test was
Just-
there too.
The way he progresses through his reads,
Yep.
the way he uses his athleticism, it's not all he does. He's not always looking to run. He's not always looking to be the rusher.
Yeah.
Everything about him just screams patience and
Protects the ball pretty well.
Yeah.
Like his deep shots are accurate, are well timed.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're seeing. Now 15 of 28 in the game against the Villains. The Villains are very aggressive on defense, so maybe that posed a little bit of problems. But hey, look, you protect the ball, you put up 5 TDs
Yeah.
and move the ball 187 yards. Yeah, the completion percentage isn't great, but it means you convert it on 3rd and 4th down a lot.
And that's key. And if you have a
Yes.
4-down game, we talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
The thing with Villains, I don't know why most teams just don't attack their intermediate areas because they basically try and attack underneath and bail deep to make sure you don't beat over the top. But
Right.
it leaves so much open
Yeah.
in that 10 to 12
Right,
range
right.
area. You
Yep.
know, I think they'll start to see that getting exposed and they'll make adjustments too because they're a smart team. I like them a lot.
Yeah,
I like them a lot.
Villains, you're referring
Villains,
to.
yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
Badgers versus Deep Balls is a big game coming up this week. Badgers was probably, and I don't mean this disparaging. I'm just saying this is a factual statement.
Yep.
They're probably the worst team I ever played against in FPF last season.
It wasn't pretty.
It wasn't pretty. And
Yes, we're playing in peace.
My headset
Peace
was
has
off,
never
I
seen
couldn't
this,
figure
by
out
the
where
way.
sound's coming from. They are
This might get clipped into Instagram, by the way.
great.
Yes,
Great.
this is what I'm feeling.
So let's just play.
Just let it go. Let it roll.
They are they were possibly the worst team ever played against. Their offense did not work. The defense showed what their coverage was before the snap.
Yeah.
They were like lined up in cover 2.
Yeah.
And showing who was dropping before the.
Yeah.
And I went to see them at halftime saying, "Hey, we need to work on some stuff on offense. So we're not trying to blow you guys out, but just so you know, like, would you be okay if we continue running our offense because the playoffs are coming and we need to straighten a few things out?"
And
they were
just,
fine with it.
And just for context, there was like a couple blowouts in our previous game, or we were on bye week, so it had been like 3 weeks where we weren't able to run a regular offense, and so it just with playoffs coming around the corner, that was the context behind that as well. Yeah,
But so they make the move to Chris Rive.
yeah, it helps when you have a quarterback.
Yes, and
A lot.
very good quarterback.
A
by the way.
lot. Yeah.
Largely underappreciated in FPF. But then on top of that, does his presence also help them understand defense better? Is that what part of the improvement we're seeing as well?
What makes you say that?
Well, just having a guy who understands that you can't show your defense, you can't, like helping them organize that side of the ball as well.
But you'd think that Cesar Garcia Diaz would be a leader in that way and be like, he's played now 2.5 seasons. Like, this is probably his 3rd FPF or 4th FPF season. You'd think, like, especially playing in the higher divisions, that he would have passed that message along. Look, having recently subbed for a Division 6 team, when guys show up and they never played a flag game, I'm like, look, just you're deep, and you guys cover short left, middle short, and short right.
When we were Wind Speed Power, we had a lot of guys who never played flag before.
Yeah.
And I was telling people, you're dropping, you have a deep right.
Yes.
You have deep left.
Yes.
We're dividing deep in 3.
Yes.
You're dropping, you have a third on the left. You have a third in the middle. You have
Yeah.
a third, like literally telling people where to go.
So that probably factored into it. But sure, having I think I know what you're trying to say, but at the same time, I don't get it. Why would Chris Rive on
You
offense?
saw their defense last year.
Yeah.
And they seem competent now. Like
Yeah.
and it's a couple of games in. Like they're already getting it.
I just don't see why having a quarterback would help the defense with scheming.
I don't know.
That-
I don't know.
that's- that- I
Maybe other
don't
than
see
just
it.
telling them like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe that's enough.
I
Yeah.
mean, maybe that is enough in their case. So given Badgers versus was it
Deep balls.
Deep balls.
Yeah.
Who needs this win more, Mokan?
That was me, actually, but in my best
I know,
Mocon
I know.
impression. Oh, I thought maybe I tricked you there.
No.
Look, deep balls are in the red right now. They're 0-2. But I feel like Badgers need the win more. I feel like for their confidence, they got a week 1 win over Block Party, the 3 Hunas franchise, taking a loss to Fireball in week 2. I just feel like if they want to get the ball rolling again, I feel like they need the win more than Balls Deep. Now, that's kind of the harder answer to take on, because obviously Balls Deep losing would mean would see them going 0-3, really struggling to get back into the playoff picture. But I'm going to go with Badgers for those reasons. I think they need that confidence. They don't want it to snowball in the wrong direction, right?
Yeah.
To go 1-2 and then say, here we go again of last year, and then pile up another loss, and then I just, they need the win more for me.
Yeah, Bruno Provencher is not exactly lit the world on fire in the game that he played. He was fine. Other than that, they've sort of tried to piece things together with Victory Ferrari and Francois Rochelot throwing a little bit.
You tried to piece things together?
Piece things together.
I heard piece.
No,
I thought
no.
you were using your own name as a verb.
I piece that very often. And I use peas in that case to mean I do that often. Like Rory Kelly and Francois Rochelot are really good receivers, but like Loric Saint-Onge is just not being used. Ev Charbonneau's not being used. We talk about it all the time in co-ed. That's not a recipe for success. Bruno Provencher, like, let's hope he's there for another game, because clearly they were better when he was quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. They struggled.
And I look, he's a really good talent. He's a really talented player. Period.
Yep.
So at any, whether he was a receiver, whether he's a quarterback, I think it's useful to have him there. But I do think we need to see other people getting involved on the offensive side for them. That to me is going to be key.
So who needs to win more? Deep balls?
I think Badgers are going to have a solid season overall. So I think deep balls, if they don't figure it out now, it's just going to go. It's going to spiral.
Okay.
So I'll go deep balls.
Because we have to disagree.
We have to.
It's a mantra.
I actually forgot what you said, to be honest.
I said Badgers.
Yeah. I clearly, but yeah.
Yes.
All-Stars seem to have acquired Theo Ogea.
Really?
Yeah. Does that? I mean, they were the favorites, but does that make them the favorites more so than before? Like, does that separate them? Let's say
Division
from
1.
Braves?
Yeah.
Does that separate them from Braves, from Kangaroos, from the top?
As much as it can, yeah.
Or this is like there's no different. Like at that
That's
point,
it.
the athletes are all so good it doesn't matter.
Almost, but yeah, I think it that edge that especially on defense, I think like that having that extra stop somewhere in a game, whether it's in one game or in like another week, just getting that extra stop on defense is gonna win you games. So because we of course heard you last week ranting about Kevin Wyatt and how it's not fair and it doesn't matter and it doesn't effing matter. Getting that extra stop on defense is critical in Division 1. Theo Ogea is the kind of player that can provide you that interception.
And I mean, adding him to receiving core that has Chris Meillard, Pat Jerome, Matt Kerouac, Quay Johnson,
ridiculous.
Like it's an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah.
But it's what you want in Division 1, right? Like you want the teams in Division 1 should be stacked.
Yeah.
And that's what we have.
And if ever a guy needs to sub, you don't want to be like, I had this guy coming in. Like, no, now you have, Theo's coming in. All right, like no drop off and like Quay Johnson taking 5 plays off, just for a quick breather.
I think we talked about last season. Theo also kind of filled out a little bit during the pandemic. I saw him out of the pandemic and I was like, Theo got kind of jacked. And I think that even helps him because he goes from being this fast, ridiculous menace to now a fast brick house of a menace as well.
I thought you said that about Kendall Myers.
I think so too, though. Like,
both, yeah.
But
both
can,
things
can be true of two people. Like I noticed Theo when he was reffing, and I was like, I don't remember Theo being that jacked.
Yeah. I looked at a finals from a few years ago, and he was a bit of a skinnier, taller, lankier. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
He was a Jamie Roche,
Yeah.
So here's my question for this roster, because their last game, presumably, they had all 10 of their current roster members there, correct? Because you got the 3 GPs, so everyone plus Theo got added onto this roster. If you're the GM or the coach or Keyshawn Thompson running this roster, how do you tell 4 of these people to sit on offense and 4 of these people to sit on defense? Or are you running a pure rotating system?
You're running a full rotation.
Have to,
rotating.
Yeah, it's just Kevin Wyeth doesn't play defense, and you rotate everybody else. You have no choice. You have no choice.
Does that make the roster better or worse, though?
I think, again, the we're talking about the absolute upper echelon of players in FPF, right? I don't think there's enough of a drop off from one to another in any direction. And where some people have certain specific strengths, the others have another strength. Like it's a well built team too. It's not like a
I
we used to remember there's a team Jaegerbaum. They used to play in FPF. We said that they looked like they were all just made in a clone factory because like they just had the same. They had like 9 of the same players.
The JF Delos franchise? Yeah.
Like they were good, but they had all the same kind of players.
Yes.
And I feel like here, you have size, you have speed, you have some older, more experienced players, some of the young up and comers and the submergents, like and again the older players like Matt Bond and Keyshawn Thompson, like you have everything.
Yep.
You have everything that you can have across the board. So whether it's on defense, at most in Division 1, maybe knocking away a pass on a convert, or on offense, being able to use size, speed, verticality, everything. They literally have everything.
Yeah, I love the distribution of attributes just across from.
Unlike what Mo would say, I would say this is probably the best version of All Stars.
Of course it is. Mo Khan's not on the team.
Yeah. Double Straddle's 3-0.
Yeah, saw that
We kind of saw that coming a little bit.
a little bit.
Just based on the matchups.
Yeah.
Not quite False Kings because it's still Division 1.
Yeah,
But
as much as it could be.
it was a favorable schedule to start.
Yeah.
They don't have the top tier teams to play to start the season, but like, Party Crashers are a good team. Jeff Rosenblatt's new to the division. They played Bulldogs, who we thought
Twice.
would have some trouble. They played them in back-to-back weeks. We said Bulldogs might get off to a winless start.
But by
they now Bulldogs will go on to face Flag One Sack All-Star and All-Stars,
Jesus
so they
Christ.
might go 0-4 to start the season.
Yeesh. But the two losses that they picked up against Double Straddle by a combined 3 points. So, we say often it's a game of converts. Yeah, absolutely it was in these.
But especially in Div 1. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
you
yeah,
don't, you
that's
don't
what I'm
have a
saying.
ton of blowouts.
Yeah.
In this specific Div 1, I don't think we're going to see a lot of blowouts, save for when
Well, how about next week?
yeah, I was going to say next week doesn't that might be
How about
an
the week
issue.
after that?
Yeah.
How about the week after that? How about the week after that? How about the week after
I
that?
don't think so.
How
I
about the
think
week
all
after
these
that?
teams are competent enough. I think all these teams are competent enough that they can compete. And like we've seen Rosenblatt play against whether it was the Finest or All Stars. We've seen him play against Kangaroos, and like they're a notch below. He would admit that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But he's kept pace in the past, so like why not now?
And I mean, with the roster he's put around him, yeah, why not?
So that was my next question. What are they missing on their roster? Like, what's that one piece you can add that make this team go from that what I'll call B tier Division 1 into A tier Division 1?
Is it
Assume you can take anyone. Like, what is it? Are they missing size? Are they missing
is it
speed?
speed? Is it like I know James Drysdale has crazy speed, but it's not 1% elite high end speed of Chris
He's
Millard.
not like the way he's faster than everyone in Div 3.
Right.
He's not that in Div 1. per
Right.
se.
Is it that could be it? Because it's not size. I don't think it's size.
No, because Sanders Armand is huge. Ryan Perry's huge.
Is it Marty Friedman who's somewhat one of them's really fast? Is it
Marty
Friedman?
Friedman's really
it's,
fast.
It's Friedman, yeah.
So
So maybe they
but I mean, like, I don't know. Like, it's
is it a rusher?
here's. I wouldn't even say there's a one fix. It's just if you stack up, let's say like we just
One
look at
for
All-Stars
one
roster, right?
Yeah, one for
If
one.
you go 1-for-1, who's the guy you're choosing over someone from All-Stars?
No, none. I'm sorry, but it's none. It's literally
Like
no,
and
no
like
one.
even if that person's one of the older players like Matt Bond or Keyshawn, just because they're older, like those guys are
Or
still
Pat Jerome.
ballers though,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, that's what I'm sorry, but I'm not picking anyone.
So that's the difference.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just the one-on-one. It's just that little bit more that every individual player brings. That you just they're not playing with you. They're playing on another team, so you can't.
yeah.
I guess you have to scout elsewhere, which is what.
Which they've done.
Bulldogs-
And by the way,
Yeah.
Jeff Rosenblatt's been amazing
yeah,
at this.
as a GM. Yeah.
Building this team,
Yeah.
not only to be able to compete in Division 1 with a lot of guys who either have limited experience in Division 1 or have never played Division 1 before.
Yeah.
Going to lower divisions to recruit. Also finding guys who fit his system perfectly. It's such an impressively built team. It's just that they're not the All-Stars. It's just that they're not Kangaroos.
Yeah.
It's just that they're not Flag Masak. Like, that's it. That's all. It's a weird it's a weird thing to say. Like, you guys are amazing. You're just not as amazing.
Dawson Pierre to this lineup would have been nice.
Maybe.
Would have been nice.
But like who do you even remove? Like, it's
Yeah.
like it's a good team. It's a good team.
No, I know. Yeah, it is. That's just everyone's just slightly a notch above on
And they all
the
play
hi-
together on
the
that other
higher
team.
10. Yeah.
Like if that team broke apart and every team had
Yes.
one of those guys, it's a different thing.
There
But
you
like
go. Yeah.
when you look at teams like All Stars and Kangaroos and
Braves and
Braves. Actually, I forgot to mention
Yeah.
Braves before, but yeah, like, but that's the thing is like, and Braves, it's they're not even overwhelmingly athletic. It's just the execution is perfect.
and the synergy between the
Yeah.
team. They just know where everyone's gonna be. They know the timing, the spacing. It's just on point. They just play. It feels like they play like if you average their time spent on field, it's probably like 30 minutes a day every day. Like,
for their lives.
for their life, like
Yeah.
playing together. Like
They should change their team name to Hive Mind. That's
Well,
what it
that's the
feels
thing, like,
sometimes.
So like the joke about Mike Pierce saying not running routes, what that actually is that his comfort level with Joe Mayo in that offense is so high
Next level. Yeah.
that those two always know where to be, what to do, when to break off a route, when to throw him open, when to put it on his body. Like it's the execution's perfect.
When to take someone out of coverage to open somebody else. Like I'll run into a guy or near someone because I know they're gonna take me, so that leaves my hook back of the end zone open.
Yeah. And again, and stuff like where Joe Mayo throws the ball 2 yards out of bounds to George Gary P. All right, not coverable. Yeah. It's not coverable. The last D1 team to win a game will be who?
Between the winless teams.
Flagwell Sack, Bulldogs, and KGP Plus. So let's do this the scientific way.
Oh.
FMS is playing Bulldogs. So one of these guys,
Oh, there we go.
assuming
There you
it's
go.
not going to be a tie.
I think FMS wins that.
Yes.
Okay. So FMS are going to be the first ones to win. Bulldogs are going to go on another losing streak here.
So that's Sunday the 29th. Okay.
So Bulldogs, they have FMS obviously on the 29th, and then they have All Stars on the 5th. Then they have Party Crashers on the 19th. Then they have KGP Plus on the 26th. So do you see Bulldogs winning a game before we even get to this Week 8 game?
I don't know if I see Bulldogs winning a game.
the whole year.
Maybe KGP Plus, like we keep selling them short, you know, like.
But Bulldogs have also lost 2 close games.
But against the
the same
team that was
team,
beatable.
Yeah.
Like against a team that was similarly
Within their
skilled.
range, yeah.
Um,
And then the last team, KGB Plus, play Party Crashers this Sunday.
Yeah, so
upcoming
KGP
Sunday.
Plus, exactly that. So they play Party Crashers, then they play Braves, then they play Double Straddle, and then we get to Week 8 with the Bulldogs.
Well, they're playing Braves.
He has more winnable games
Yeah.
earlier than Bulldogs. So even if Bulldogs beat KGP Plus, I think Bulldogs will be the last to win
Yes.
a game.
Yeah. Flagmolsak, KGB Plus.
But do you think it's impossible that Bulldogs go winless?
That it's impossible.
That
with
you think for sure they're going to win a game?
What's the most likely game they win?
KGP Plus. Maybe
They
Party
have
Crashers.
two
Party
games there.
Crashers. The Party Crashers Sunday, February 19th.
Maybe.
They also have a Week 12 game against Party Crashers.
And then,
so if you
yeah.
think Party
they
Crashers
might
and
win that.
KGP
I
Plus,
think they split that series with
they
Party
split,
Crashers. There
yeah,
you go. Maybe
yeah.
that's it.
Or split with KGB Plus, maybe.
I think Party Crashers are a better matchup for Bulldogs, but like Bulldogs prefer to have them when they're later in the season. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I feel like they would have better served having their tough games early,
Mm-hmm.
and getting Miles Gibbon used to the speed of Division 1,
Yep.
and then have some of the winnable games heading into playoffs.
Yes.
I think it's
you don't
it's gonna be a tough
control-
season, and again,
You don't control your schedule, right? So
we're splitting hairs between like the top players in the entire league.
Yep.
So I mean, it's not shade. It's hard to win Division 1, man. 3 wins in Division 1 for a team that's
it's a
not
lot.
quarterbacked by Joe Mayo, Kevin Wyeth, Dan Lazara, and Alexander Hughes. Any team to win 3 games in that division who's not quarterbacked by one of those 4 guys, that's a good season.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yep.
Simple as that.
I
That's a
disagree
success.
with your usual reasonable take. I work in extremes. We need a best person.
What do you mean the best
We
person?
need to know LeBron or Jordan. There is only one.
Sure.
There can never be shared titles.
Well, listen, we put out the reel of the Kevin Wyeth reel this week, and someone said that Rosenblatt was the GOAT over Kevin Wyeth. So
Did you see that message today?
it was written in the
GOAT?
comments.
Goat? Oh, it was on that one? Okay, I thought someone was talking about the post that we put up with Médéric Lezon throwing like a bit of a wobbly touchdown pass, and I'm like, you're calling him the GOAT? I'm like, he's good
No,
in Division 6 and
you
5.
confused 2 things.
Okay, I didn't. Okay,
Also, what do you have against wobbly passes, man? It's all I throw.
but I'm like, let's pump the brakes on
Across his body,
Médéric Lezon, the GOAT.
across his body while moving to his right. Yeah.
He's good, but the GOAT, yeah.
I speaking of the dudes from Bulldogs, I spoke to Ryan Dobbs about quarterbacking in FPF.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, how'd that go?
I told him like,
better
hey,
than
dude,
his quarterbacking.
Huh?
The conversation went better than his quarterbacking.
Oh, okay.
He's doing all right. He
Co-ed 3, by the way.
yeah, of course. of course. But I mean, it's
That's where Ryan's throwing. So yes, naturally it's co-ed 3.
yeah, exactly.
The audience doesn't know this, guys.
I know it's your job to bring it up.
He
and
did.
Just did.
the worst.
How'd that conversation go?
It went well. He told me he's thrown a little bit in MFL.
Yeah. Okay.
He's,
This year.
he's got a strong arm. We know.
Yeah.
We know he's got a strong arm. We
Yeah,
know
yeah. He can
knows
throw
the
a
league.
football. Yeah.
But we also know there's more to quarterbacking in FPF, right? He said, interestingly, what he's starting to do more is hooks and slants, right? Because especially in co-ed 3, they're going to be open.
Yep.
He's having a hard time placing deep passes, and it's an underestimated skill
It
where,
really
like, you
is.
can have a great arm, but it doesn't mean you can connect with your receivers
Yeah.
downfield.
Yeah.
And that I told him, like, dude, that's fine. Like, take 2 or 3 deep shots a game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the rest of it'll come. It'll come.
Yes.
You don't need. You can throw a lot of yards by throwing 5 and 7 yard passes. You know, you can score
Even
a lot of
less,
touchdowns by throwing
yeah.
5 and 7 yard passes.
Yeah.
I've seen Kevin Wyeth have an entire game with triple slants.
Yep.
Right, and so like, you can do it. It's
yeah.
fine. It's a great team.
Yeah. Surrounded by a lot of experience, good talent.
Yeah. I thought
Ladosh,
adding Tony
Lala.
Lala was a nice piece.
Yeah.
An experienced FPF vet. I don't know a lot about Diana James Landry, but she looks like she's been doing her job really well. Alex LaRoche, we know, is a very, very good snapper.
A snapper himself, Ryan Dobbs fed him the ball 9
Well,
for 10, 83.
When you played snapper,
Yeah.
you realize how open snappers
Yes.
get.
Yes.
They get fed.
Yes.
They
yeah.
get fed when the quarterback is a snapper as well, right?
Yeah.
So, and Alex Noel, I think, is a good piece too.
Absolutely. Are you kidding?
So Ev Charbonneau, we talked about her earlier in the show. I think she's a nice piece. I really think this team has a good combination of everything. Lorianne Lapointe's one of my favorite players as well in the division. So she's only played a game. So if she's there more often than not, I think this will be a good competitive team. And they beat Packer have been better than I thought, but at the same time, I would imagine they still have their organizational issues.
Right.
And so Ryan Dobbs will take advantage of that, right?
Yep.
With just his knowledge. And they play Canicule this week.
Yeah.
And I expect that to be I expect them to go on a little bit of a win streak here.
Yes. Fast and Furious 3, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, like you mentioned, Diana James Landry, 2 touchdowns, or 1 touchdown in back-to-back weeks. So for totaling about 64 yards or so in her 2 games, back-to-back games with touchdowns. Yeah, it's Canicule with, newer team. They're fine. They're going to pick up too late in the game that Alex Ladosh is getting 10 receptions, and then if depending on Ryan's playbook, he'll take advantage of that. Like, okay, you're crashing on my snapper. Well, then this route or that route is going to be open.
Especially you run like sale concepts where
Yes.
where there's a level behind the snapper.
Right.
Where if they're going to give it to you for free, great. And then once they jump the snapper, that level above is open.
Yeah, I just see a lot of the experience from all the players, from the female down to the quarterback. They're just. I see it
you'll
at
be
like
right.
a 20 point
And,
victory.
and I'm proud of him for trying. Like it's
Yes.
it's hard to quarterback in
Yep.
FPF, and he's starting low division. I think he'll see success just because he's got a knack for it. It seems, and I think he's a smart enough player. And as he moves up, he'll be like, okay, this is a little bit harder, and he'll improve with that as well.
Yeah, adjust slowly.
I think it's cool. I think it's cool to see him trying it.
Is, yeah. It's definitely the next time you're in a huddle as a receiver, you're like, you were gonna say something, or like you're like, yeah, no, it's harder than it looks.
Yeah, especially like when you're receiving, you don't understand the reads, and you're like, come back to the huddle. I was totally open. Like, yeah, you're read 5. I didn't get to you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Before I already completed a pass for 18 yards. I'm sorry you were open for 30. The ball was out of my hand.
Yes.
But like when you played quarterback, you get it. Like you can't see all 5 people at the same time. So it happens.
Plus, there's game management in there that I'm like doing a lot more of this year. Like, I don't need the 18-yard pass right now. I need the 2-yard pass to chew this clock up because this is the final possession of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a huge underestimated part of the game.
Yeah.
Plus, let's be real. As a receiver, if you think you're open, you're usually not actually open. And
Yeah.
it's because the quarterback's looking the other direction and the defense is bailing there, not because you're actually open.
Yes. I was just thinking of that on my way here. Like, and I asked receivers, I'm like, were you open? and then they all said yes, and I'm like, there's no way you were all open. I'm like, when I'm asking if you're open, I mean like you're wide open. Like that's a
Like,
a
were you
little
running
nuance.
a deep route and your person stayed short?
Yes,
Yeah.
like now you're open.
Like
but
the outside flat build on the go and the drag going across the field has no coverage whatsoever on the sideline,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
wide open.
Yeah.
Not the guy's trailing me to
by,
the right
by
type
a
of
yard
thing.
or two.
Yeah.
Like yes, I know you beat him by a yard or two, but you're not wide open.
I gotta place
like,
that ball perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. And again, I think the playing quarterback helps you see that.
yes, exactly. Yeah.
Kaniki Lee got their first win.
Nice.
They're 1-1 with a plus minus of -2.
Not bad.
So it's fine.
Yeah.
So because
Oh,
of
against
that,
Sneaky Snakes too.
yeah.
Okay,
That's
24
a
to
good win.
20.
It's a good win.
Yeah.
Do we think they're going to be a tough out every week?
Let me take a look at that game against Sneaky Snakes.
Pick 6 made a difference here because that actually changed the outcome of the game.
I also don't think Sneaky Snakes had their quarterback, usual quarterback, Daryl Dorsley there.
He did not, no.
So that impacts not only their offense. He also is, I believe.
I mean, they only had 68 yards passing.
Yeah.
One off a good time.
one off what?
One off a good time.
I don't get it. One off a good time.
You're terrible.
Yeah, I'm focused on the show, Eagle.
He's doing show. With sexual innuendo.
Yeah, I'm too focused.
68 is not nice.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. God damn it. So what do I think of Canicule? Yeah, look, good win, I guess. I don't know how to chalk this one up. And are they going to be competitive week in and week out? My gut feeling is no, especially in these back-to-back weeks with Fast Not Furious. Even against Block Party, who's been kind of struggling out of the gates. I see them, Block Party, winning that game by like 2 possessions at the very least.
Yeah.
Like they'll be within reach of a game. And then with like about 8 minutes left, another team will go up by 2 possessions. Then they won't score, and then it'll end up like a 3 possession.
So if you're Canicule coming into this season, what do you consider to be a successful season? Are we talking you have to get championship? Are we talking playoffs? Are we talking staying competitive in all of their games and trying to sneak out wins?
Well,
Like how would you approach this from a development perspective?
look, I find that difficult to answer for a couple of reasons. Athena Ryan doesn't have a lot of experience throwing an FPF. She threw a little bit for Yana Yang.
Mhm.
She's developing in the league.
Not terrible stats so far.
Been
like,
okay.
Like
It's been
3 to
fine.
1 TD
That's
to
why I think they'll be
INTs.
competitive in a
Yeah.
lot of games.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
And then on top of that, I don't know what the middle and bottom tier of Co-ed 3 is going to look like. I don't know who the decent teams are and who the bad teams are yet.
Yep.
Because a lot of good teams play against a lot of bad teams, and a lot of teams are beating each other, but I haven't been able to really get a grasp on who's really good.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, I know who's really good.
Yes.
I don't know who's kind of good, and I don't know who's going to struggle.
I have the same sentiment. It's a little too early to tell. Especially, it doesn't help when Sneaky Snakes don't have their quarterback. Things of this nature that tell a different story. If Daryl Dorsley been there, I probably give the edge to Sneaky Snakes in that one, or what, scratch the probably. I give the edge to Sneaky Snakes.
Yeah. They play a much better team in Fast and Furious 3 in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But so if they to me, even if they lose those games, if they're 24-20 games or
Yes,
or 30-26 or whatever it is, like 1-score games, I think at that point we know there's going to be a middle pack team that's going to be tough every week. And I think that's Eagle, to answer your question, I think that's a win for them.
Yes. I like the ball distribution, though, from Athena Ryan. Who do you cover on the team? Who's their primary receiver? Like, the ball distribution's there. Is it Evan Gerbert? Is it Obed Laria? Lara Uzoka? Maria Manseri? They're all getting 5 to 9 targets in that range. So, like, your Sneaky Snakes or your Block Party, half and half, who are you taking away?
It's tough.
Yeah.
They use everybody.
Yeah.
But is it also that no one has risen to be that true number one receiver? Right? Like, is it too much parity on this team.
Just based off the sneaky snake game, and if you open up like that that box score, you'll see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different receivers with a reception, and 9 that were targeted.
Yeah.
So I just that in particular, I like that. I like a distribution where you don't know where the ball's going, so you need to be 5 deep
Yeah.
in coverage, which in co-ed 3 you're not gonna have teams
In comparison, Marc-André Gosselin had 10 targets
right
for Sneaky Snakes.
right.
So, yeah, it does definitely make a difference for
Yeah.
sure.
So I think that keeps them in games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Larry Uzoka. I think she's gonna have an impact on this team for sure. Evan Goubert obviously has scored the most touchdowns, and
Mhm.
those two seem to be the top two. But to your point, it doesn't mean you can abandon everyone else because everyone's getting involved. Because at that, they had 4 and 3 targets, and they weren't even the most targeted players on the team. So
Yeah, and if I'm seeing their two-way player, it's likely Maria Manseri. Already 4 catches, 23 yards, and has 3 sacks on the season. We know the lower divisions in all of FPF, regardless co-ed, men's, women's. The lower divisions, you tend to see a bit more running from quarterbacks. So
Yeah.
to get 3 sacks and put teams that are not as great offenses in 3rd and 4th and long situations
It'll help.
it helps a lot.
yeah, sacks are a much bigger deal in lower divisions than they are in
Yes,
higher
yeah.
divisions. A, because there's more of them, and B, because
They're usually 7 to 8 yards and not 1 or 2.
yeah.
Yeah.
We've discussed this a lot. When we say like FPF's a 4-down game, it's not just that you go for it on 4th down. Is that you plan your 2nd and 3rd down, knowing that all right, if this doesn't work, what am I calling next? Because
Yeah.
I need to set up a makeable 4th down, or do I check down here and then 3rd down I could either take a deep shot or get the 1st down,
Yeah.
and then I still have 4th to convert. And
Exactly.
that's a lesson that's a little counterintuitive, especially if you're like mostly an NFL fan, or if you play in like the women's division, have different rule book. Like it's really specific to FPF.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it takes a little bit of a
adjustment.
some time to adjust to that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I guess FPF, MFL, like that teams that are based on that rule book. You
Yeah.
know. So Michael Scott's Tots have gotten off to a tough start. Is this going to be a tough season for them, or do you see them building success in the latter part of the season?
So I want to lead this conversation off with talking about Kenny Boutelier, who's taking his shot as quarterback for this roster. A couple of things I've noticed. We've been talking about the 3-to-1 ratio. He's under on the TDs, over on the INTs, getting sacked way too often. And I think here's the part that's interesting to me. Say he has 39 completions in 3 games. He also has 16 rushing attempts for 165 yards. Now, as compared to his regular yards, basically every set of downs, he's running on one of them. And if he doesn't get a first on it, then it's passing until he hopes to get a conversion or throws a pick. That's kind of the way I'm looking at the gameplay here. And losing a game by 1 point in week 1, beating Canicule, we just talked about them, and then losing badly to La Secte in my mind, is a representation of that. He has to try and carry this team, or feels the need to, and when he can't do it himself, receiving-wise, he's relying on Zachary Alberts-Gill and Evan Eli Nole to carry the yardage. That's it. Like this team feels very one-dimensional right now, and I feel like it's Kenny who has to adjust to fix the trajectory in order to make the rest of the season successful.
Iggy, Kenny Boutelier is your protege. So I have a question.
He's one of our flag playbook extensions.
He's part of the family tree, right?
Yes.
But you've spoken to him more than I
Yes.
have
Yeah,
about
yeah,
quarterbacking.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm bringing that up is I have a theory about what's happening.
Okay.
That it's not unique to Kenny, but what a lot of non-quarterbacks do when they start playing.
Go ahead.
I have a feeling he's staring down the rush, trying to beat the rush, making throws. Like it's affecting his decision making too much.
That's what I saw in week 1 still, and past seasons. And he told me, nope, I'm not. I'm like, oh, okay.
But you don't. If
You
you're
don't-
doing that, you don't always know that you're doing that.
Yes, maybe. But he's like, no, I'm really focused on the pass first. I'm like, okay. I mean, I just maybe it was one play that I saw where like he literally stared. To me, he stared down the rush and then ran, which he's great at. He's really hard to
Yeah,
tackle.
he's a really good athlete.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
played with him. He's
Yeah.
awesome.
I personally, I Eagle, I like the 60% completion percentage that he's going on versus the 40% that he's been throwing in the past. So if he is running every set of downs but then completing 60% of the passes, this is picking up first downs in my opinion.
So, okay, I'm gonna go back to the receiver stats. You can take a look at this. Look
I
at
saw it.
who's getting the completions, right? It's very front loaded. Let's call it that.
I don't.
And that's the part that worries me. I don't think this is a well-designed system. I feel like it's, okay, stare at a receiver. Does he get open? Yes, throw the ball into the window that I think I have. No, scramble. That's what it feels like. There's no actual quarterback progression through the book. It's just, this is my guy, you're getting the ball. You don't get the ball, I panic and I run.
And we could be wrong. So reach out to us. Tell us if we're wrong. But something isn't quite where I'm sure Kenny would like it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's I think there's different parts of it where maybe where he's staring down the rush is key downs. Maybe it's like it may not be all the time.
Right.
It's a lot of running attempts. I think that again, use and run. If you're a good athlete, use it absolutely.
Yeah, to pick up a first on fourth down.
But it's a
third
passing
down.
league.
Yeah,
it's a league designed for passing.
There's 3 things I'd say, basic quarterbacking things that I like. There's just basic things that everyone should do if they want to be a successful quarterback. One I already alluded to. You got to throw the ball hard on every down. It's not rockets, but you can't baby a pass in. Yeah. Defenses are just too good. You don't have a receiver that can catch a harder ball. I'm sorry, I'd rather the incomplete than the interception.
Yeah. And also to learn to catch it.
Yeah. 2. What was my 2? God damn it. Throw a ball hard.
That's 1.
1. Oh, god damn it.
What's 2?
I'm forgetting already.
Throw a ball hard and
no, there was a third one too.
Oh. But you didn't get the second one yet because you said throw a ball hard is 1 and 2.
Oh, the ball will always travel faster than you running with it. So,
true.
And you're a quarterback. If you want to progress, there's no point. The point of running to get a first down, I get it. But if you want to get better, running doesn't help you get better.
No.
And not just that, the ball will always travel faster than your legs.
That's why I run so slow. My throws look harder.
Yes. And I forget the other one, but I always say 3 things.
And throw hard.
And throw hard. It's like dodgeball. It's the 5 Ds and the dodges in there
dodge
twice.
is also the last one.
Yeah.
Who's snapping? Is it Evan Eli Nolet or it's two of my former snappers, Evan Eli Nolet and Abigail Cockerton, are on this team.
Oh, Abigail just subbed one game.
Okay.
And the game I saw, Evan wasn't there, so I don't know who's snapping officially.
They have 2 good snappers though.
Yep.
Because
again, she subbed.
You're
not listening.
Saying, if she were to sub on more games, whatever.
Sure.
Both are 2 of the best snappers I've played with.
Yep.
So it's cool. It's cool to have them on the team, even though it may be just one of them.
Yeah.
I'm moving forward. In Div 5A, who do you think could rebound most from their 0-3 start? Backwoods Football Club or Tip Top Shape?
So I would need to take a look at who they have coming up.
I'll talk to you a little bit about Tip Top Shape while you're pulling it up.
You said Tip Top Shape?
Yes.
I was at the game this week when they faced off against Big Fat Bats.
Oh, at Hebert, yeah. There was a quick highlight on Instagram of Sam Mashtub running up the sideline.
Yeah.
Yep.
I shot that.
Oh, cool.
I got to the field early, so I just took a couple of clips before I saw him.
You were next to Dan, weren't you, Lazara?
Sorry?
Were you next to Dan Lazara?
Yeah.
I heard him laughing.
Yeah.
No. He went like, oh. And I'm like, that's Dan's voice. that was Dan.
I forgot to turn the voice off. But yeah, it was Dan. So one thing I noticed is there was a clear difference in terms of speed and
yeah.
Big Fat Bats could do basically everything they wanted to in this game.
I have a question before you tell me about that anymore. I saw this. Is Phil Roberts? I'm just curious.
I don't believe it was. I didn't see Phil Roberts.
It's an actual Philippe Robin.
Yeah, it might be just a dude named Philip Robert.
Okay. Go on that they outmatched their speed at least.
Yeah. So, first of all, there was a huge injury.
Yes.
I forget who it was.
It's the rusher on Tip Top Shape, which is
if you can get me his name.
Sylvain Follefant.
Yeah, exactly.
Sin-
So he
Sinbad.
collided. He went like head first into Sam Ashtub's elbow.
Oh, I heard it was quarterback.
Yeah, I think it was on a throwback play.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe I misunderstood what Sam was telling me. Maybe he ran, but he said he ran into him. Is what I understood.
But him being Matthew Zapatelli.
No, well,
Yeah,
it was
what
Sam
is-
Ashton telling me the
Oh,
guy
oh,
ran
oh,
into my elbow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I don't know
Split.
if it was on a drop back play,
Right, okay.
convert perhaps.
Right. Split open his head, I heard.
Yeah, so he hit the ground and Sam asked, "Are you okay?" And he said, "I think I'm bleeding." And he's like, "No, you're fine." And then he turned and Sam saw the gash and was like, "Oh no, you're bleeding pretty bad." So they stopped the game.
Yeah.
Dave DeAndre helped bring him, I'm sure, to the
Yeah, to
hospital.
the hospital. He was-
That's why Dave DeAndre didn't throw the entire game.
Yeah.
Like at that point, the game was pretty much out of reach anyway.
Yeah.
Look, Big Fat Bats scored 32 points in the first half.
Yeah.
It
They're
was,
that kind of offense. Yeah.
there was a remarkable difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Luca Lucchese is really coming along as a receiver. He's
Mhm.
been a great rusher his entire time in FPF.
Yeah.
But now
Yeah, he's
adding
adding that.
that part on his
Yeah.
offense. We
Yeah.
talked about the addition of Sam Ashtub, and of course Matthew and AJ Zapatelli just being the ridiculous athletes they are. There was just they got run off the field. In Tip Top Shape.
Mhm.
Tip Top Shape are going to be a very matchup dependent team this season.
Okay. Yeah. And what kind of team are they successful against? If a team like Big Fat Bats,
A team
they-
that's more methodical, like them.
I mean, next week they
so
have
like
clinkers.
a clinkers.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like that. That's
I didn't even see that's their next schedule, but yeah, like I feel like a clinker team is something that they're gonna
Clinkers,
be-
minutes of sobriety.
yeah.
I don't have a feel for the process yet this
Me
season.
neither.
Just trust the process.
Yeah, I
Just
guess so. They seem process seem a little bit leaner than previous seasons. In terms of the players on their team, they're missing.
Yeah,
a couple
like
dudes.
I'd say they're missing like a Dondre Borden.
Dondre's on the team, for example. Yeah,
type of thing. Yeah, I think you're onto something with Tip Top Shape, and that they're perhaps in more danger after their 0-3 start facing
like
teams
Save
like
the Turtles gonna be tough for them. West Island Boys gonna be tough for them.
Pizzicato, West
Pizzicato.
Island Boys. Save the Turtles and and even Ballers.
Ballers too. Ballers
Yeah.
won a championship in this division, didn't they? Or they competed in a
They did?
championship.
No,
I thought so.
no.
I don't remember. It was like
I don't
years
think
ago
so.
at this point.
Oh, maybe it's past before Iggy.
No, it's recent. But
Okay, then no.
I don't remember.
No.
I remember them being good, and they're doing all right.
Yeah.
So what about BWC here? What happens with them?
Backwoods.
Yeah.
So they played against Red Knot Skins, Matthew Kelgin,
Does
Michael
their schedule
Petrov.
have the most amount of words ever for an FAF schedule?
That's
All
I
the
mean,
teams
it's,
they
it's
play
mostly
against-
their fault.
it's mostly
too.
them.
But
yeah.
also Buffalo Wild Wings and West Island Boys and Menace to Sobriety and Red Knot Skins.
Yeah, it just looks worse though because backwoods.
Yeah,
and
they
football are
add to
long
it in every
words,
game,
yeah.
but they also play a lot of teams with 3 names.
Yeah, true.
They could, they should have been Backwoods FC, but then soccer stuff on our
what is
page.
this?
That's a tough schedule too. I mean, but, they're largely playing a lot of the same teams. Like I was saying, they were playing against Red Knot Skins, and the Michael Petrobon led and Matthew Kelgin led team said they're very athletic, but that's about it. There's still not that FPF experience, and I was a little surprised. I thought they were better than that. Like we keep talking about Liam Gilmore or Hennessy O'Reilly. And they're like, yeah, we were up big on them, and we kind of let them back into this game. And it was still like a 32-18 game.
Yeah.
Where they were up, I think, pretty big at halftime. I think the score was 26-6 at halftime. It surprised me. Look, the Tip-Top Shape schedule, I think, is harder. But given the knowledge that Matthew Kelgin, Michael Petrobon have of playing against good teams, for them to say that we didn't have to play our best and we beat them quite handedly leaves me a little worried for Backwoods.
I like how Red Knot Skins are built also.
Yes,
like
they're really good
they
team.
took a lot of their core guys from the Bud Light team that they were.
Yeah.
But also added some of the guys that they met through Brad Evans' team.
Yeah. The Riley Pinecone.
Riley Pinecombe.
Miles Keller.
Yeah, Craig Browning.
Jesus.
And then you have Michael Petrobon and Anthony Gentile. Like it's a good team. It's a really good.
those guys are cap friendly.
Yeah, it's a stupid name, But
Yeah, again, why
know.
the quotations?
Who's
Just-
saying not?
yeah,
Who's the person who's saying not?
the Redskins owner?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. I mean,
Not.
he will not be the owner soon,
Yeah.
and they are no longer called that.
Maybe
so,
it's
yeah.
Borat saying it. I don't know.
I don't know. It's weird. I like to know who they're quoting. Or maybe they just don't know how quotation marks work. But yeah, I like the team a lot though. I think they fit Matthew Kiljan's skill set, and they're good enough on both sides of the ball
Yeah.
that when Matthew Kiljan gets reckless, because he will, it won't matter.
He's proving to be very conservative.
Yeah, it's coming.
In
It's coming.
how do I say it? 10-1 TD ratio. Here it is again. 10-1. It's not conservative though. It's conservative in terms of protecting the football.
Yeah.
Which is what you have to do. You have to do that, and he's really impressed me so far.
But he hasn't had a game where he's had to go score for score yet.
I guess
That's where he tends to make mistakes.
I guess. I
Look, I think he's learned a lot playing
Yeah.
with guys like Brad Evans who
Mhm.
really understand flag and
Yeah.
but
That was my
at some point we all have our nature.
that was my recollection of him with the Bud Knights a couple seasons he
just
threw.
chucking it.
Yeah. And even looking back at some of our games of the week, which like look really old, where I'm like, well, okay, I thought like I've seen him throw now, and I'm like, yeah, he's progressed.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
he's better. He's better than he was.
yeah.
I'm saying though that somewhere deep
That
down
nature,
inside,
that nature is there.
so it's still there. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
and maybe look if he got it coached out of him,
Yeah.
great. He's gonna
Great,
see
yeah.
a lot of success because
Yep.
he's talented.
Mm-hmm.
But like against teams like Him University, against Glory Boys, Ballers, there's a lot of teams in this schedule that can score.
Okay. Yeah. Let's wait then.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm with you.
that's a definitely wait and see thing. But I do think they might be one of the best teams
Yeah.
in terms of roster construction. I think they're one of the best teams in the division.
Yeah. I totally think so. I think the Ice Up, Red Knot Skins, especially just Group A, those two teams really stand out to me. Group B, the Save the Turf Dolls right now and Big Fat Bats are just a cut above. I'll include myself in no friend zone. We had a really fun game against West Island
Well,
boys.
you're throwing in Division 5. You're too good to be throwing in Division 5. You're allowed.
At the time,
Enjoy it.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
gonna be the last time.
The argument,
And you're
by
playing
the way,
terribly in Division 5 though.
yes, I know. The argument there, by the way, for like people like what Division 5, Jared Buck and Simon Blais threw in Division 5 last year. Just saying.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, last year.
You threw in Division 5 last year.
No, I did not.
You didn't?
No.
You Div 6?
Yes.
Okay.
Div E.
You're a lot better than you were last year though.
Yeah.
You're literally a different quarterback than you were last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when it comes to practice squad 5, they were former All-Stars.
You had to say it that way.
The artists formerly known as formerly All-Stars. They got 4 games in so far this season.
Yeah.
Which is not common. But
Some Buffalo Wild Wings have played one.
yeah,
Just FYI.
I kind of like that because it makes like our power rankings, which just went up on our Instagram page, by the way, in case you haven't seen them. It makes them more interesting.
Yep.
Because it like if 2 teams have played the same amount of games, it's clear who's better because
Especially
one
if
team
they-
has more wins and
Yeah.
one team has more losses.
Yeah.
But here there's more debate because of all this this variance, you know.
Mhm.
So practice squad is beaten tip top shape. They played a close game against Big Fat Bats, which is given how well Big Fat Bats have been playing.
Oh,
That's
okay.
really impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, Save the Turtles. That one didn't go well. But then tying the process. So like I don't think they've had an easy schedule either. They're just playing well. They're playing well.
Interesting. Yeah.
Alex Papineau, he's still learning the position
Yeah. Have you seen him play?
with not this season.
He tends to run it. Well, I mean, look, he's good, but he's putting up those.
But 18
Kenny-
attempts rushing.
18 attempts.
Four rushing
Granted.
touchdowns.
There you go. Like it makes it understandable because he is. He's very difficult to. He's not elite speed, but he's just shifty in a certain way. He's slippery. he's just slippery and he makes guys miss, but not because of an outstanding juke.
Just good body control.
Just yes. I think that's
Yeah,
properly
that's
said.
what I remember from him as well.
Yeah, and does that pump thing, that where like he's just pumping downfield even though he's already past the line of
That's,
scrimmage.
you remember Doug McKernan?
Yeah.
That was his thing. He would pump 15 yards downfield.
Yeah.
And same kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes.
I've tried it, by the way. It never works. Like the few times I do run, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm 3 yards behind line of scrimmage. Pump fake, deflag. Like, why?
Reminds me of the Trailer Park Boys quarterback.
Yes. Antoine Meunier.
Yes, who does it
Constantly.
Yes, constantly to gain extra yards. Hey, look, they're good at it, but 8 to 4 TD to INT, so 2 to 1, 500 yards in 4 games, the 6 sacks, so he is getting sacked against a good rusher, 88 QBR. There's something left to be wanted on as a passer.
Yeah.
In my
And like
opinion.
I like Vincent Demare and Fabrice Robillard is really good too.
Yep.
And they're starting to develop Stefano De Seta as
Oh,
like
he's
a third
good.
option.
He should be.
He should be the number one option,
Yeah,
but it doesn't seem like he doesn't seem to go there first. He seems to be like a
second
like a
or
deep
third
threat.
option.
When he needs to take a deep shot, it tends to be
Vincent.
Stefano.
Oh,
from what I remember.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree. I think he's probably the best receiver on the team.
Yeah, just in let's say in terms of route running, his route running is the best on the team.
Yeah.
I'll say it that way.
Yeah, he looks really good. I like him a lot. I think they can benefit from going to him a little more often, and maybe giving him a couple letting him use that route running on breaking hard on the hook or come back and allowing him to use his separation, rather than just sort of spacing routes. I think he'd be great. He's great on ISO routes also. And that's something they can focus on for sure.
But yeah, Vincent Demers seems to that's his first 3 games of his FBF career. Although it should be 4. But yeah, he's racked up over 200 yards already in 4 games. That's good. If averaging 50 yards per game in FBF, that's the entire field and a first down. So yeah, that's
Red Dragons play penetrators in 5B towards the end of the season. Do we think there's a 2 or 3 team race in this division?
in 5B, right?
Yeah.
Between penetrators, Red Dragons, and who's the third team?
Blue Dry?
The Blue Dry, the black label of spring, the cheap beers. These guys.
The Carlings.
Yes. Oh God, next year.
Wildcats.
The Gross.
The Gross is okay.
Only for the
I
bottles.
like all beer, so.
Just for the bottles, yeah.
Okay, yes, because I use them to
Yes.
put my beer in.
Yeah.
But no, as a manufacturer of beer, I don't speak badly about anybody who also makes beer. Someone at some point came up with that recipe, and so I don't disparage any beers.
Yeah. I think.
Except for Cheval Blanc, that shit's gross.
Okay. I think you're missing a lot of teams here.
Okay.
Killer Rays.
I like Killer Rays.
What could have been?
I didn't frame the question, but yeah.
What could have been?
Killer Rays to me are the best team in the division.
Probably. Yeah, they are the best team in the division.
I played with Tyler Gerberg this week.
Tell me about that.
He's amazing. He's really good.
Yeah.
He's a really just he's not just a fast receiver. He uses his body well, good route runner. He's everything you want in a receiver.
He gets the game.
Yeah,
right?
he gets the game. He understands the spacing.
spacing concepts. Yeah.
He I like that team a lot. I think everyone sort of plays the role. Donovan Hines, great size. Evan White's really good.
Yeah.
Chris Genio, the times I've seen him play has been really good.
Yeah.
Been really reliable. He had a really good game in the finals.
Jared
Curtis Ryan.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really deep receiving squad for this division.
Jared Arani as a rusher is really good. He's one of
Oh,
those
yeah,
guys.
Jared Ryan. Yeah, that's true.
He's one of those guys that, against guys like us who release the ball quick, sure, don't get sacks, but he's deflagging you every play or every second play.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
Yeah,
All
you
right,
gotta-
he's,
you gotta
he's
time
getting
it,
there.
you gotta get the ball out.
He's getting there. Like if I'm off by half a second, I might get sacked.
Yeah. If I have to go to a third or fourth read, he might get there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But he's averaging a sack a game on top of that.
Yep.
You know.
I do want to frame this question slightly differently, right? So we started off with Red Dragons, Penetrators, and Bleu Dry as the leaders in this race. Obviously, we just added Killer Rays in here.
Mm-hmm.
Give me one reason per team as to why they will struggle to stand out. So let's start with Red Dragons. Like, what's their core weakness that you're worried about as to why they wouldn't match up well. Let's go with Killer Rays because you said it's the best team.
Yeah.
What's your worry in that matchup type of thing?
Third and fourth down conversions.
Okay. Penetrators
Height mismatch.
and Blue Dry.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I didn't
Yeah.
think about that, but that's pretty
And Blue Dry.
good. I also think Mo was referring to Group D
I
specifically.
think so.
Yeah.
Now that yes, now that it's framed
But
that way.
Also, Mo, Iggy and I were super busy. Thanks for the help, man.
Yeah, thank you. Mo.
Appreciate the help.
Also, do a better job in your script.
Blue Dry. I like Blue Dry. I like what I saw in Black Label last spring. That one they'll have a better matchup against is Blue Dry. What they're specifically gonna struggle with, I guess it's generic to say again, but the third and fourth down conversions. They're just not converting. They're probably, if I had to give a guess, and we can look it up in the team stats.
But when they were another Labatt product in Black Label,
Yes.
as you know, was quite good.
Yes. Yes,
He's
he's
a solid
very good.
season. To your point, the completion percentage not quite there, and that's often a result of not excelling on third and fourth down. They also, I saw that they added Julien Bellavance to the team. That's a pre-Iggy name. He's a very, very good two-way player.
Is it the same Julien Bellavance?
I haven't clicked it yet, but I was like, because there's also two on the roster, so I don't know who's who.
Yeah, I think
Maybe-
Iggy, weren't you saying there was an
I
email
think
that came
so.
in for
No,
that
it's
about
not
it's the
him.
wrong
Okay.
one?
It's
No,
not-
we
it's
get
not-
a lot of emails.
Because of the rating and the QB rating, I thought it might have been, but it's not the same Julien.
I remember noticing that at one point. And I was like, and then it was a
But
different.
he's
person,
also
so-
good.
He is, yeah.
He seems to be about the same caliber as the Julien we're both thinking of. Really good receiver, really good defensive player as well. He's a guy who's intercepted 41 passes in winter and spring seasons in FPF, as well as everything he's done on the offensive side. So, while not the player I was thinking of, he is a really, really good player to have as well.
So you know what? While I said Red Dragons not being as good converting on third and fourth down, looking at the team
You looked it
stats,
up now?
yes, they're actually converting 47% on third down
It's not bad.
and 57% on fourth down.
Yeah.
Which is actually it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And they're converting 70% of their extra point converts for 1 point.
Yeah. So
Now, they're not
seem to be
going
really
for
good in
two.
red zone as well.
They're not going for 2. And by the way,
You
I'm
don't have
saying
to if you get all your
Yes,
ones.
yeah.
You don't need to go for two.
Yes. But that said, by the way, like they might think, they're hearing me and that I'm a hater. I'm impressed with how they've developed
Yeah, because I didn't
Because-
think they were gonna be good at all.
because their development really was like a sharp curve because it
Yeah.
was very slow at the beginning, very slow, and it's suddenly skyrocketed. It could be because Guillaume Boulanger is now throwing in Division 4 as well under Bébé Magique.
That's the thing. When
That's
you
a
throw in a
tough-
higher division and then you go to lower division, although it's not working for you in 5,
Yeah.
my God, the windows are so much bigger
And
when
I
you go
think
back down.
I think he's benefiting greatly from
Yeah.
that, and they're looking like I'm seeing the spike in their development, and they're showing it. What is it? Are they without a loss? Without a loss on the season, 2-0-1, putting over up 100 points in 3 games. Bébé Magique, Red Dragons, that's not usually a 30-plus point consistent offense, and that's what they're doing right now in 5B. It's nice to see.
So, what impresses you more? Patrick Jason of Green Monster having that 10-to-1 ratio, 10 touchdowns, 1
The
interception.
new norm,
The
baby.
quarterback play this season has been
I'm
crazy.
telling you, I'm
Crazy.
seeing it everywhere. It's
Yeah.
the new norm.
And, by the way, Jeff Lefebvre,
And or
and, because you could also be impressed by 2 things.
yes.
I
was impressed by both. Yeah.
Jeff Lefebvre leading the division in passing yards. Jeff, I'm so happy for
Yes.
Jeff because there's not a nicer dude in FPF,
Yeah.
and roster seems
Is
to
he,
be
though?
a little bit better than the past, and they're being competitive. They hated playing Division 6 because they always felt as though, and by they I mean Brewers, they always felt as though they would get matched up against these insanely fast young CJUP University kids.
55 rating.
And so they said, you know what, let's just try 5B, and you know what, it might be working out for them.
I think they added a few players, but look, when I saw what Mo wrote, I'm like, whoa, Jeff Lefebvre's leading Div 5B in passing yards. But then I looked and I'm like, okay, he played an extra game. So he's played 4 games when most, if not all of the division has played 3. But still, to put up 600 passing yards in 4 games,
given
it's about
how much
150 passing yards per game.
Yeah.
And that's probably, if I had to venture a guess, that's above his average of, like, I'd probably want to say 110, 125 per game.
Yeah.
So he's driving half the field more per game than he usually is.
But he's not converting,
Yes.
Iggy. That's the
That's the
problem
big
here.
Is it so like
yeah.
they beat Vic in a box, but that's the kind of games they're gonna have to win. It's sort of gritty and ugly games.
Yeah.
They beat Vic in a box. They had a chance to beat Pocket Rockets, and they let them off the hook by not making their converts.
Yes. Yeah. That's
That game could have been theirs. They allowed 2 extra point converts to Craig O'Brien, and on their end, they only got the 1 convert.
Yeah, so in a vacuum, I was more impressed with Jeff Lefebvre leading Div 5 or 5B in passing yards, but when you drill down to it, Patrick Jason having 10, it's just 10-1. Come on, man, like, it's amazing. This is crazy good, and he's never been known to be like a great quarterback, right?
Yeah.
He's a developing quarterback, and to see that development progress, again, look, the sample size is 2 games probably, right? Or maybe 3 games at this point. So it's maybe a little too early to be, throwing all the flowers out. But for what it is, 10-1 is really fucking good. It's really good. So in a vacuum, Jeff Lefebvre, but within context of an FPF game, give me Patrick Jason.
I'll give you one more thing, though, in favor of Jeff Lefebvre.
Go.
And Pat Jason, one of those guys, by the way, he had to throw for that Vince Nardone team in Division 3. And
Oh, yes.
they were mismatched, and like, clearly it helped him develop, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. The
so
thing we
like,
talked
kudos to
about.
him. And Pat Jason, as an FPF player, period, you're a better team if he's on your team.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Oh, yeah.
And they're a team that Green Monster was a reputation of not scoring enough. That's not the case anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
But Jeff Lefebvre, if you look at that last drive, Brewers were driving for the win. He threw for 41 yards of offense. He got sacked for a 2-yard sack. So the way I see it, based on just the game recap, is that they got stopped at the 1-yard line.
Right.
They got stopped at the goal line.
Yeah.
So Jeff Lefebvre was driving with a chance to win the game and got to the goal line. And you know what? Like, again, given the fact of how much he struggled at the quarterback, it's impressive that he was able to lead late games. There's an art and a skill that's required in late game drives.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Not everyone can do it. Jeff wasn't that guy for a long time, and that's, as far as moral victories go, that's a good one to take home with you.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you that one for sure. They're 1-3 though.
Yeah. Well, but
I know, but all
that's a game that you could. We're,
yes.
we're probably feeling very differently if it's 2-2. But if he gets
True.
1 more yard,
True.
we feel completely different about his season.
Yes, but results matter.
Of course.
But
absolutely.
I do.
You
agree.
have to win games.
but
There's only 10 of them.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
That late game drive, it's not easy. It's not, and it takes a certain mental fortitude, and maybe we're at the point where he's and also surrounded himself with, it looks like, better talent, and it's helping his game. But again, we're giving him the kudos as well.
Yeah.
Just score.
No smiles in Co-Ed 1 for the Funny Club as Alex Nodopius wasn't there.
That's so
and
funny,
Fast
yeah.
Not Furious did what they're supposed to do. They beat a team when their quarterback wasn't there. No shade thrown. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's what you expect a team led by Miles Gibbon to do. And they did just that.
I was watching this game, like 80% of it.
Mm-hmm.
The star of this game, Jessica Bositampen.
She's going to be the star of a lot of games.
She, with her 4 sacks, completely neutralized the Guillaume Bellin, I'm doing the Braves double, triple quarterback thing. It worked for a couple plays, but it also led to sacks, interceptions from James Drysdale. She's going to win Defensive Player of the Year in Co-Ed 1.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. I think we said it also 2 weeks ago. Like week one,
Maybe.
we're like, she might win defensive player of the year.
Maybe. No, not. Well, I don't know if we said defensive player of the year. Maybe we said female player of the year.
Maybe,
It's
but
defensive player.
And
She
you're
only played the
basing
one
this
game
off
so
of
far?
one game.
Yes.
That good.
Yes.
No, she's really good.
I mean, we saw it last year in co-ed as well.
She had 22 sacks in a season already.
That's crazy.
She's played 27 games, Eagles. She has 38 sacks.
Damn.
In not including Fall Cup, which can we put the Fall Cup seasons on
Stop
the same
looking at
goddamn
me.
stat page?
Stop looking at me and look at that guy over there.
Don't look at me. Look at a guy named Carlo.
Carlo! Yeah, so star of the game, Jessica definitely was leading.
Well, Tavin's really good.
Yeah.
She's excellent.
Like the engine that kept the Fast Not Furious fire alive was going through her, because while Miles Gibbon had a good game, it could have been better. I know that sounds crazy to say, 4 TDs, no interceptions. It just
Well, the 4 TDs, like, look, when you only allow 12 points, you got to score more than 4. You should score more than 4 times.
yeah.
I
Well, I mean,
always,
why does one thing have to do with the other? Actually,
because you're the other team's not
You're getting
possessing. He's not
stops.
completing drives.
yeah.
They're not possessing the ball as long. So Miles Gibbon's been really good at protecting the ball, but I've always felt as though he should score more.
It felt that way. I was there.
But it
just
always
felt
feels that way. Like, you know what I mean? Like it always feels
Like-
like he could have. He leaves a score on the table.
Yeah.
In 80% of his games, he
Yeah.
leaves a score on the table.
Yeah. And like,
he's because I'm only saying that because he's excellent. Like,
Yes.
I'm holding him to a high standard.
yes,
Because he's amazing.
yes, exactly. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's simple.
Yeah. And like, look, as impressive as the 6 receptions on 7 targets for 82 yards and 4 touchdowns going Ryan Dobbs-Gardnett's way, take him out of the lineup. 2 for 4 for 30, 2 for 2 for 30, 3 for 4 for 21.
Yeah.
It left me wanting more. Like the game, I was surprised when I kept looking at the scoreboard. I'm like, it's 26-12? This game feels like it's 38-12.
No. You still have Vincent Morissette,
I
Guillaume
get it.
Bellin on defense.
I get it.
William Trottier on defense. It's a good defense.
But with the 3 interceptions that Funny Club threw to the Fast and Furious defense, I'm just out. I was looking back at the scoreboard and I'm like, wait, it's not 38-12? Like, I felt like maybe I went over to another field at one point. I'm like, they were driving the field and I'm like, wait, they didn't punch it in. Like they were at the 5-yard line. Like they didn't.
Yeah.
Like it's what you're saying. Like I felt like a score or 2 more were left off the board.
Yeah. I'm a fan of Sarah Cormier on Funny Club.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's really good. She was the best receiver for Funny Club in this game.
Yep.
And again, it's a non-traditional game. You don't have your quarterback, so you're running sort of a trick playbook.
She was the one that kind of.
But if you know as many people in FPF as the Funny Club, and you have the cap loss of Alex Nadeau-Hughes, why not bring in a quarterback?
Yeah.
Bring in a sub? I don't know. Like you could probably fit like a Dan Lazara or something on his team. Like, you know what I mean? Like Alex Nadeau-Hughes is one of the highest cap hits in FPF.
Yeah.
Why not replace him? Like, I get it when you have to replace someone who has no impact on your cap, it's hard. But when you lose the top cap hit on your team, that means you have a lot of options. And if you get someone who fits the division, you don't even have the penalty. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I don't know. Oh, there's no penalty. It's code 1. But yeah.
I was. I get
Oh, no. Is there a penalty in code 1? I don't remember, Eagle.
penalty. No.
Oh, no,
You're
it's
talking
penalty
about.
code 1 and
You're talking about the
code 2,
QB flex.
yeah.
That's
code
There's flex in
2.
one.
Code 2, yeah.
2.
Well, no, we have a cap on 1.
We have QB flex in co-ed 2.
Co-ed 1, because co-ed 1 has a cap.
Oh. It's always
Highest
usually-
division with a cap has a flex.
It's always the lowest. The
It's the
next-
highest division with a cap.
Highest
Division
division
one doesn't
with
have
a
a cap.
QB cap.
with
has
the, with
flex
the, sorry,
applied to
sorry,
it.
sorry.
So,
yes,
for example,
yes.
Division 1
Has no
is no
QB.
cap.
Yes.
Division 2 does, therefore flex.
Got it,
Co-ed
got it,
1
yes, yes.
has a QB
Got
cap,
it.
therefore
doesn't.
flex.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
I'm looking at it.
It's-
Then we have the wrong information on roster verification, my friend.
I was fairly certain that co-ed 2 is the one with a QB flex.
I'm reading here. Coed 1 cap and A.
Speaking to the mic.
Co-ed 1 cap and A.
Thanks.
Interesting. Okay, then it's replaced to 2.
I was
But either way,
Yes,
Either
yes.
way.
you have infinite cap room because
Yes.
you don't have Alexander Pugh throwing.
so
Bring a quarterback.
so
Literally anybody who's throwing a FPF
well.
before.
There was 2 things. So I
Call Iggy.
I was watching that. I'm gonna say 2 things.
Okay, there you go. He's there. He's
I
on the
was
field.
there. I was there sitting down just watching that, which that didn't go through my head. That just went through
It
my head
doesn't
right
have to
now.
go through your head. You're not on the team.
Yeah.
It's their team. Figure out your problem, man.
Yeah,
Come
yeah,
on.
yeah. Like it didn't go through my head then. It just went through my head now. I'm like, oh, I could have thrown for this team with Vincent Morissette, Guillaume Belland, Will Trottier, Sarah Codmier. I'm like, oh, that would have been fun to throw for
Yeah.
this team.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was, why didn't Will Trottier throw?
That's also
Like,
true.
Like he threw because he threw with
He
the
threw
double.
some, but he wasn't the main quarterback.
Why not? He's
don't know.
good. He's good for co-ed 1. Like he would have, I think, put up more than 12 points. So yeah, there was some questionable quarterbacking decisions there, but it is what it is. There was a 1 week off, I guess.
Yeah.
Nadeau Pughes will be back.
And that'll make the team look different.
Just a bit.
Free Smoke beats Party Mix. At 0-2, are Party Mix becoming a middle of the pack team in the division? Like as a division caught up to them.
That'd be interesting because for
Now, François Delorier. I mean, I am François Delorier,
yes,
but he wasn't there.
I mean, so is also a lot of their roster on a lot of these games. Alexis Gaumont only has 1 GP. Marie-Lou Côté-Noël only has 1 GP. Those are the common names. Jonathan Chevalier as well hasn't been around. So not only are you working a game without yourself, Peas, but the surrounding cast has also not really been there. So I don't know if I'm looking into this too much at this point, but cause for concern, question mark. They have Power Rangers next week. Then they have Northern Braves the week after that. They have
Jesus.
LPP the week after that. They have Easy Fun. Granted, it's
Not the
retooled,
same,
so
yeah.
okay, fine, maybe. And then you end with Outlaws, Justice League, and
God.
Girl Scouts I don't know a lot about, but then Ballbusters too. This isn't easy.
No, it's tough. And like this week,
With a
Catherine
full
Piché was
roster, mind
throwing.
you.
It takes her out of the receiving core.
who?
Catherine Piché.
Yep.
So, you know what I mean? Like it's not the usual roster, but like they also lost to Funny Club Fair in week 1. But that's the whole point, is that Party Mix, who used to be the class of the division,
Yeah.
now given that we're seeing guys like Miles Gibbon and Alexander Pughes throwing,
Jean-Maire,
and Stephen Harper-Sod,
yeah.
uh,
Dom Lefort,
Dom Lafall, Joe Maher,
Jean-Maire.
like now where does that put Party Mix?
Yeah.
Right?
In middle of the class, right? I mean, look, they've been competitive in their past 2 games, given the roster incompleteness. But I think they are now
But
a
to your
step
point,
below.
Results matter.
Yes,
They're
Yeah.
losing these close games
Yes.
where, and again, the high
usually.
standard is because you used to run this town,
Yeah.
right? You and Power Rangers used to run this town.
Yeah.
And
I think a lot of teams were interested in taking down teams like Party Mix and Power Rangers. I think there was a big interest in that in this year, and I think they're proving to be successful at doing it.
So
well,
I'm
like
gonna.
obviously with the rule changes, the amount of teams now in co-ed's grown. We didn't used to see quarterbacks like Joe Maher throwing in
Yeah,
we didn't see a lot of Division 1 players throwing in division, you know, and we've seen the rise of you know, other teams like Justice League as well,
Yeah.
being
retooled and advanced each and every year.
And I think all of these play into that. I don't think it's just them regressing.
Yeah.
I think the division has improved.
I don't know where our props are, so we're going to have to put on figurative hats for this question I have for you here. So Peas, we're going to put on a hat as a player in Co-Ed 1, and Iggy, you're going to put on a hat as a media coverage person for Co-Ed 1.
Well, he's wearing a hat, and he is a media coverage person.
Yeah, but pretend it's a different hat, or like you're a different person or something.
Yeah, pretend you're a different person in the same hat.
So I'm Pease Delarice. I am Francois Delorier then.
There we go. Yeah,
Full circle.
but I'm Francois Delorier, the player.
I'm confused.
So-
Perfect. This makes sense.
So
Go
what
with
do,
it.
what do you prefer? Being a 2-horse race where you're destroying all the teams except one, of which you play them twice in the season and then in the finals, or where every week you have to strategize and figure out how you're going to beat this team, the different rosters, etc. So, Peace, as a player, which one do you like better?
I I like a competitive division. I like going in every week and feeling like, oh, this is going to be challenging, this is going to be exciting, this is going to be fun. I understand. Obviously, I understand the appeal. You want to win, right? But is it true competitiveness if you're by far the best team? So if you're a really competitive person, obviously you want to win. But if you're beating teams you're much better than, is it
Is
it
fun?
scratching that competitive itch?
Yeah.
Because isn't that why you play in FPF? Because it's hard, right? There's other leagues you can play in where you can be the big poodle in the small pool.
And Iggy EGPs as the coverage person for
Yes.
Coed 1. What's the storylines you like better?
Look, the storyline at as a final like end of the season battle of the giants going at it. Yeah, it's good. Are they gonna come out on top? Is there a huge upset potential and Cinderella story? There's an angle you can go there, but personally, as if I had to choose, I'd go with the competitive week in week out. The roster or the cap being working to its what it's intended for. I personally like the week in week out. Who's gonna win? I don't know. It's close. It's coming down to converts. It's who can get one or two stops first. I think there's more compelling storylines in the latter.
So what you're saying is Party Mix being bad this season is good for Coed 1.
Yep. I overall I'd say that. Yep.
So what you're saying is Party Mix is bad.
Yes,
Awesome.
said it.
Inflammatory.
Yep.
Man, Francis Laurier won't like what he said about himself.
I don't like it in a third party kind of way.
All right.
Because party. Third party.
Prefer them being in the mix.
Third party mix.
He prefers first party.
Do you ever have the party mix from Costco? It's got like Doritos and Sun Chips and pretzels. And
I know where this is going. Pretzels is the last choice.
really?
don't like
I'm a
pretzels?
guy.
Pretzel. If pretzel is not the last choice, if pretzel's the first choice, you're a sociopath.
I only eat the pretzels.
You're a sociopath.
It's my
I
favorite
turn
snack.
off your mic. How dare you shun the pretzels?
Yeah, pretzels are glorious, guys.
The best.
Especially when you're smashing beers, it's the best.
I think my favorite is going through the shopping malls and they have the pretzel stand and you walk by, you're like, fuck, do I want a pretzel?
Not the same.
It's a smaller, harder version.
No, the soft is good. The soft is good.
I'm a pretzel guy. I look. That's great. I wish I knew this when we were roommates last season because I would have smashed your bowl of pretzels the entire time.
I would have put a bag of pretzels in your pillow.
It's literally I've had this debate back when we would go into the office for work. The party mix is like a social theory of who the outcasts are. You put a bowl of party mix out, and the person who single and selectively takes out the pretzels is the person you want to avoid at the party.
So Eagle and I are both that person. That's what you're saying.
I wouldn't say I selectively take specific items, but I definitely try and focus my scoop in a concentrated area of what I
You
like.
guys are weird. Oh, of what you like, but not of pretzels.
No, but let's say like there's
But
a
you like the
corner of the
pretzels,
bowl
is
that
the
has
point.
more pretzels in it. I will take that side rather than just other side.
I take only pretzels. I go what?
This one's got to
and
go
like,
on.
I don't-
This
I
one's
don't-
got to go on the reel and then comments.
And-
Comments.
and, like,
We
it-
want comments.
if there's like chips on top, like, and there's not a lot of pretzels left, I'll walk by and like shake the bowl a little bit,
God,
and then
you're
like,
the
oh, there's more
worst.
pretzels in
You're
there.
the worst.
If you guys are watching this on YouTube, please leave comments below in terms of what you do with your party mix.
Yeah,
Rank
how do you
them.
handle your party?
Power
mix?
rank them 1
Look,
through 4.
I'm friends with Laurier, and I love pretzels.
Power rank 1 through 4, please.
Mount Rushmore of party mix in which order? Yeah. Andrea Hevia, Sarah Parker, and Carmen Police have 6, 6, and 5 interceptions respectively. Who surprises you the most in this group of having turned over the ball as much as they have? And why do you think that this group of quarterbacks is struggling?
I'll go with Sarah Parker. I thought, well, to me, she's a protect the ball, not very conservative, but conservative in driving the field, very methodical.
Yeah,
Uh,
she's a coach, and she plays kind of like a coach. Like she wants the ball to be protected. She wants to do the right thing every time, right?
So to me, this was it 6 interceptions. That's high. That's after 2 or 3. It's after 2 games.
Yeah,
that's high.
It's high.
It's high, especially for her, not just high in general. It's high for her.
Yeah, I think the worry I have here, Carmen Pulice obviously coming back from an injury, figuring stuff out, also playing 3 games, so okay, it's not terrible as like a ratio. It's not great.
For Carmen Felice, it's a lot of interceptions though.
Yes, but I would say like getting back into the rhythm, you haven't played in a while, you're figuring out your teammates, I get it.
Huh?
I'm as much as I worry about Sarah Parker like you described, at least she's actually getting it done in that she's driving the field and she's scoring. I think the worry I have with Les Bleus and Andrea Hevia is there's not a lot of yards. The completion percentage isn't good. You're not scoring, and your interceptions are high. And so for me, that is a big red flag in terms of what's going on with that roster where you're just not able to drive. Is it a pure quarterback issue? Is it a system issue? Is it a familiarity, which you would expect them to have some chemistry given the roster and everything? So that's the part I'm a little bit more worried about in terms of what does this mean for the long term for this.
But the
rookie
question
team.
was, who surprises you the most?
And why? And why do you think they're
That
struggling?
surprises me the most.
Not Les Bleus. Like they were an unknown going into the season,
Yeah.
so the unknown is now proving to be a turnover offense.
For sure. So is there a thing where the league is starting to figure out Sarah Parker, where she's a smaller quarterback in stature, and if you send, she likes to sit in the pocket, and if you send a tall rusher at her, it removes an entire section of her reads.
It's one thing that's been mentioned here and there and over again.
And it's not like I heard it first from players. It's not
Yes.
something that we said on the show,
Right.
and then other people have figured it out. Like, it's been told us by players in the division.
Right.
Sarah's
Anecdotal-
mentioned it,
a-
but she hates tall
a-
rushers. You and I hate tall rushers.
Yes. Yeah.
But like
It's a
we-
thing,
we've
yeah.
incorporated some rollouts and stuff, not because I'm never gonna run, but just to change the throwing window for that reason.
It surprises me though. I've seen her footwork in the pocket, and I mean, forget Isaiah Lard, because when Isaiah Lard's rushing you, that's a different animal. But I've seen her juke out, but it's like she's so good at it. She looks like
Yeah.
Peyton Manning
Yeah. She has great feel, like pocket awareness.
and like moving laterally up and then back into the pocket. Like I've seen it, and I've seen it in games. So she can get around it is what I'm getting at. And the fact that with 6 interceptions already,
Four against Girl Scouts.
really.
Yeah.
So
She got
maybe
intercepted by Gabriel Charles Dab Champagne, and twice by Olivier Carpentier-Roberge.
So I haven't seen them haven't seen them play yet, Girl Scouts, and what they're sending as a rusher.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised that she's not using her quarterback or pocket presence a little more.
They sent Sarah Berbice. She got 2 sacks, and they sent Marianne Lebrun. So they were using multiple rushers. So it might just be these might be more. This in this case here it might be more coverage related than so. Like maybe they're doing something that surprised her. I'm curious. I'd be curious to talk to her about it, see what she feels about why the season's worked out the way it has. Because she's only ever had 2 seasons where she's thrown double-digit interceptions.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right?
That's-
So, like,
yeah.
It's surprising that she has 6 through 2 games.
Now I know this Girl Scouts team. Yes, this is the Emmanuel Bransard,
Yeah,
Julien Prou,
J'ai l'impression-
Beatrice Bouchard. It's a bit of the Bleu Pou women's division team in co-ed. Yeah, nice. This is going to be a good team. I'm surprised maybe they didn't need Julien Prou rushing. He's a great coverage corner as well. So
He's one of those dudes you can use anywhere in the field.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah,
a
yeah,
great conversation with him at the FF Steph Party too. He's a really nice guy.
yeah,
Really nice dude.
yeah. Super versatile, as you're saying.
Yeah. After 3 weeks, he was, by the way, he was surprised that I spoke French. I was like, yeah, it's not my native tongue, but I do speak French. I live here, man.
Yeah.
After 3 weeks and who they defeated, would you rank Free Smoke as the best team in Div 3?
Given who they've defeated. Yes?
Sorry?
Given who they've defeated?
And given who they
Yeah,
defeated.
yeah. Free Smoke,
Yeah.
top of the division.
They played 1 game.
1 game. Is this a Moconk? No, they're 3-0.
Free Smoke.
Free Smoke 1.
Oh.
There's Free Smoke 1. No. Their power rankings came out.
True.
Silent Ticklers, number
Which, by the
one.
way, if you go to our Instagram account, you'll see them in our stories, probably while you're listening to the show tomorrow morning.
Probably. I'll go Silent Ticklers. They've just looked 120 points in 3 games.
Yeah.
Literally averaging 40 points a game. That's
There was debate as to whether or not because Jordan Pineda is throwing for Silent Ticklers, right?
Yep.
So there was debate as to whether or not he should be allowed to throw in Division 3, and he hadn't played in a while. Now he looks like he's probably too strong for Division 3.
Wow, really? Shocker. It's almost like the system works. Don't fuck with the system.
Well, I mean, I thought, given the time away, I didn't think it was ridiculous last year. It's surprising that he was still able to throw in Division 3
again.
again, yeah.
He threw in Div 3 last year?
I believe so.
Yeah, with
Well, he was
Silent
good,
Ticklers.
but not like
Yeah.
dominant.
It's just with the receiving core that he has around him, right? The Adam Rosens, the Dan Mancinis, the Andrew Blevings of the world. Like,
But getting back to Free Smoke 1,
yes.
like, Les Versfall are a really good team.
Yeah, but they were in Div 4 last year. They were making the
they're
jump
better.
up.
But they're better than they were in. They're a better team than when they were in Div 4.
Are they?
I believe so. They added
Guillaume
noticed-
Bellin, he was there.
Yeah. They added. No, never mind. I thought they added someone.
It's
and I'm wrong.
pretty much
I
the
thought
same
they added.
team as the
I
Division
thought they
4.
added Sebastien Castillo-Zone, but he's
No,
actually
oh.
on Free Smoke 1.
Yeah.
The Castillo-Zones are amazing.
Yes.
They're Jimmy Lee Janvier throwing for them full time helps. They're a big physical team too.
Yep.
They play a style that is going to be disruptive to a lot of teams.
So hey, by the way, I didn't say it, but yeah, hell, they're very good. Are they the class of the division? I'm not putting them there. I'm putting them in my top 5 power rankings for sure. And like you said, they have a little bit of they have the Chrissy Lazons and the Jared Taylors. They just have that's something a little bit. Is Ginzy Alexis on the team?
No.
Oh, okay. Because my God, that would just be another just guys that you cannot match up against. Like they're just a step above. So yeah, they're obviously very Ginzy Alexis 0 games played. Yeah, they just have players that you don't have an answer for.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Silent Ticklers are that answer to them.
Mangoose too.
Yeah, and Mangoose too.
Mangoose.
Yes.
I think Nick Schaefer's every bit as good as Jordan Pineda.
Agreed.
I played against him Played against Mangoose last year. They are all fast and they're tall. They're big. They have a lot of really good things working for them. Thomas Coutu is dominant as a rusher. They're good at every level of the game.
Yes. Yeah.
And now James Drysdale seems to be a full-time member of the team. Close the book.
Yeah.
like you already have Olivier Cerise, one of the best defenders in FPF.
Yes. Yeah.
You have one of the best rushers in FPF. You have one of the best receivers in FPF.
So you're closing the book on
Close the book.
on Mangoose.
Yeah.
They're
And it's weird because it sounds like it would be a negative thing, but I'm saying it as a positive
yes,
thing.
I know.
Because you finished reading it.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you. I read the last page
First?
of every book first.
I don't do that.
I do it because I want to. I'm constantly thinking about how it's going to get there.
Okay.
And so I've read the last page on Mangoose.
Uh-huh.
I'm impressed. And now we've seen how it gets there. We've seen how they get to be a top tier team. We saw it in the fall, tier 1. They were very good. I think they're
Tier
a team
2.
that's ascending.
Tier
They're
2.
probably already too good for
Tier
Division
2.
3.
No, they were playing in Tier 2,
Yeah.
not Tier 1.
Okay, but they didn't they play?
Who? Mangoose?
Yeah, they.
Tier 2. They played Kiss My
I no, I
Outlaws.
played against them as well. We
Yes,
played against them. But I'm saying they played either the previous fall in tier 1.
Yes.
And they got like
Correct.
their ass kicked. But
Yes.
but you saw like a progression.
Yes.
And,
Sorry. Yes.
and then in
yes.
tier 2 again, being one of the top teams, and now playing in this division,
Yeah.
you can see it. Like there's a separation between them
Yeah.
and a lot of the other teams.
Yes. Agreed. So yeah, I don't think it's a clear cut. As good as Free Smoke is, I don't think they're a clear cut favorite.
I'm inclined to agree. I think it's going to be a fun season.
Yeah.
In Division 3, we also left Lego Cook out of it too, which
For I just after 2 games give
but
them
they're
another.
looking really good.
Yeah. But give them another
We've
game.
had our criticisms of what's it called?
Schedule.
Of the quarterback.
Dom Lefort.
Dom Lafall. That's it. Sorry, the name didn't come to me for a second. We've had our criticisms, but He's been playing really well. They had the benefit of when they played Bearskins, Neil Ettinson wasn't there.
Right.
So that said, they smoked Bearskins. Smoked them.
Yep.
So it's not like, yes, it's probably a lot closer and maybe Bearskins win that one, but a lot of things would have had to go right for Bearskins to win. They beat Never Overtime. They had a game rescheduled. That's out of their control. They go up now. I think they can beat Les Verspal. I think they can beat Les Malheudes. I think they can beat Blue Chips.
Yeah.
Backyard Bullies.
They're beating all these teams.
Mongoose in week.
Mongoose, that's their first true test.
Yeah.
Depending on when the Alpha Dogs game gets rescheduled, Mongoose is their first true test on the season.
Yeah. Mongoose is one of these teams that's just infuriating.
Yes.
I've talked about them to death.
Yeah.
They're great dudes. They infuriate me because they just know how to win games. I can't even describe what that skill is.
It's winning. Just win, baby.
But yeah, I know. But whatever. That's not a real thing.
Just win, baby.
But they're an example of how it is a real thing.
But the just win. It's just it doesn't matter how it looks.
But we're talking about immeasurables. They have immeasurables.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed. Yeah. They pulled out another close win against. That's what she said.
Not Eagle. Mo asked the question here in the. Oh no, it's here. Sorry. What would you? We talked about them a little bit. What would you rank Thomas to James Drysdale as a wide receiver combo in Div 3?
It's definitely up there.
It's up there.
But I kind of like the Adam Rosen, Dan Mancini. Man, that is dangerous. But yeah, it's a close second. It might be better, but it's really close to James Giles Kutsu.
Can I sidebar for a second? I can't believe we have a team called Mangoose and a team called Mongoose in the same division.
And they're both like long-standing franchises in FPF.
Yes.
So you can't ask them to change.
Yeah. And there's a Mengoose in Div 5.
I low-key love the name Mengoose.
Yes.
I also
and we got the team picture wrong, but we fixed it. But I'm like, come on, Mengoose, Mangoose, Mongoose.
I'm
Goddamn.
gonna throw a couple of. First of all,
what's worse, that or Free Smoke and Free Smoke 1?
the free, but the free smoke receivers of the Chrissy Lozons.
Yeah.
That's up there. Also the Greendale Human Beings, Brandon Aylward and Alex Joltapuf.
Yeah.
For that system.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot to contend with too. The EZW Clone Factory.
But they're not here. I would have put CO Living, but I don't believe playing.
That's true. Because if you have Etienne Laurent Gervais and CO Living, but I don't think he's playing. You're right. But JC Ferland's good too, man.
Yes. Oh, yeah. If like a CO Living JC Ferland combo, I'd put it up there. I'll put it in the conversation.
So like ECW might not have the best duo, but they might have like the best
5
7 guys who could.
Yes, I'll give them that. Yes.
It was like that year the Miami Heat went to in the bubble. They went to the finals
Uh-huh.
against the Lakers.
Yeah.
And I think Zach Harper of The Athletic wrote that the Heat are the best in a league where you can play 12 players at the same time. Because they just have the deepest roster. Like that's
Right.
ECW. Like if they can line up 7 receivers, they have the best. They have the best roster in Division 3.
I see that.
This is Mo's question. What is the change Pease's mind for Arush to shake off the False Kings label?
So, Peas, can we go in your mind?
Be better?
Well, they got to win against the GIHF Vulture.
We're struggling.
Yeah. But I'm surprised. Look, Arush have a good defense, but after letting, 26 against Mangoose is actually pretty good. Their defense has impressed so far this season. So to only let up 26 against Mangoose, 26 against a Ben McMahon led offense, you're doing something right on defense. And
Eric Lalonde is playing to a far better standard. He's playing to a standard we've always expected him to get to.
And his div
12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Roughly 11-1. Right? Like it's again another amazing quarterback performance.
4-1, but sure.
I understand.
But it's good.
Yeah.
It's for Div 3, it's very good.
But I'm saying early on in the season, like when you see 12-3, like it feels like 11-1. It feels like 10-2. Like those are successful.
Yes.
70% of his passes being completed.
Yeah. It's that's the most, to me, the most impressive. The 70%.
But they lost their only real challenge. Their first one, I think, are a middle pack team like they are, and GIHF. It's Vultures without Drysdale.
Yeah.
By the way, James Drysdale not choosing to play with his boys, choosing to play with Mangoose instead.
Controversy.
I don't know.
I have a very serious question for you both.
It's not serious at all.
We need to hear this very serious. We'll be very serious with our answers.
If they are false kings, who is wearing the crown? Because they're all quite handsome men.
It's easy. It's Eric Lalonde.
Who's
He has
got
the
the worst
golden
hair?
hat on.
Who's got the worst hair? Because you got to cover it up. It's got to be one of the three. Because there's a dude with a cap. There's a dude with a
Bandana.
with a bandana, and there's a dude with a toque. By the way, it was only like 4 years ago that I realized toque was not an English word, and it's just like
It's a
a
French.
Francisism that
yeah.
we say in Quebec.
Yeah.
You know, like
Well,
It's a beanie.
Yeah, yeah.
it's a beanie.
Yeah,
but
yeah, true.
I was in the States and I said a toque, and like
No, you're
don't
not.
know what you're talking about.
Just
bro.
like all dressed pizza.
Yeah.
What do you mean all
Ketchup
dressed
chips.
pizza? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got to be one of the three.
I already gave my answer.
You going Lalonde?
It's a golden hat.
It's true.
It's mustard yellow, but it's golden to my eyes.
He's got kind of a Jughead vibe
I
of
kinda
Archie
see it.
comics.
The
right?
Archie.
So yeah, I can see it. You are the false king.
There you go.
But like I say, he's not playing that way so far. However,
Yeah.
however,
So have they
But here's the
shaken?
thing.
Have they shaken the?
no, because their wins are false.
Exactly.
They beaten a winless GIHF, right?
Yep.
Air Force One put up 12 points against them. They beat EZW, but again, EZW we think of as a little bit weaker than
Yeah,
they've been
it's not the same.
before. Yeah,
Which
I
of
don't
these
know.
which of these
What-
teams is going to be committing the regicide? Come on, give it to me.
maybe when they face Les Vaches Folles, but Les Vaches Folles are not as quite as they've been as good as I expect them to be.
Very similar
Infantry.
teams, but I give the edge to Arouche.
Okay, so how's this? Why do Arouche always get an easy schedule? It's not their fault, by the way, because it's nothing to disparage their talent.
Yeah.
It's to disparage the talent of the teams they play against.
Yeah, I see that. The only tough one I see is the infantry, right?
Maybe Les Vaches Folles if they turn out to be what I think they are.
Right.
Yeah, backyard bullies are struggling. ECW is struggling. Bearskins.
Green, watch out for Green Munch. They're 2-2 right now. New FPF team, but led by Marc-Antoine.
Is it Green Munches or Green Monks? Or Green Munks?
Munkes.
Munkes.
I was trying to do the Tobias Funke thing
Yeah.
of Arrested Development.
Green Munke.
Green Munke. Led by Marc-Antoine Lapointe. And he's like, yeah, these are my young studs, and they look the part. 2 weeks in, they've suffered 2 straight losses. They could maybe give some problems and fits to Arouche. Maybe
Green
I like
Munches.
Antoine Mew. We met a lot.
he didn't hear that, but we had Google voice assisted pronounce it. It's Green Munches.
Green Munches. Now we know.
Yeah.
Like, whether that's your team name or not, it is now. I like Antoine we met. He's playing really well. 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
He's the Red Rifle, by the way. He's Andy Dalton.
He does
of-
look
of
a little,
FPF.
a little Dalton-y.
Yes. Put it up. Do the Eagle. Get ready for the side by side comparison of Antoine Ouimet, right? Of Green Munches and Andy Dalton. Please prepare that as we take a look at them.
He's another great quarterback performance.
What they impress for me. I caught them week 1, and I'm like, oh, a new team in Division 3. I'm like, they're gonna struggle. They clearly have played tackle football before, but they've clearly played some level of flag somewhere because it was just methodical. It was let's go up the field, 5-yard hooks here and once every drive, and not always taking a deep shot, but when they do, it was precise. It was accurate. They impressed week 1. But I'm like, but they're gonna get caught by teams with more experience. There's the Division 3's full of them, right?
They have the ultimate mercenary and Marc-André Lapointe on the team.
yeah, he's led by them. Yeah,
He's played on a lot of different teams in FPF, right? I've been on his team. He's a character,
Yeah.
but he's a great leader.
yeah,
He's a guy who really helps focus defenses, focus offenses. Guys, this is what we need to do. He's a perfect guy to have on an experienced team.
Boom! I'm calling. I told you, Red Rifle.
I'll say this: Andy Dalton's got a good hairstylist, man.
Yeah,
Whoever his barber is,
that curve.
yeah.
I'm calling it. I called it. It's a Red Rifle.
Yeah. Not only does Andy Dalton have no soul, however, it does feel like he's staring into my soul in that picture.
Yeah.
And I feel hurt. I feel hurt on the inside. I feel like my hair might be turning red, which is, to be fair, an improvement over white. So there is that. Yeah, I think the thing that would have to change my mind is for Arush to get a real schedule for once. Because we see it. Look, the thing is, they look great every regular season, but they never play anybody. Then they go to the playoffs, they face someone who's a bad matchup for them, and they lose. And it's nothing against them.
I know.
I think they're talented.
Yes. It's just they don't face the adversity in the regular season when the loss doesn't matter and carry as much weight as the playoff loss does. Yeah.
Where you don't have another week.
Yes, that's absolutely true. I think we're doing it on purpose. I think Eagles making
Can I get one of those schedules one time?
have a quarterback of the year to your name.
That'd be nice. Or just an all-star. One all-star would be nice.
Full disclaimer: I'm not involved in the generation of the schedule, so not actually me.
That's true.
I know.
That
We're
is true.
teasing Eagle.
Yeah.
The conspiracy is elsewhere.
Vanessa Beery made her debut of the season.
Yep.
I was gonna say for Flamaros, but for
Fleur de lis.
She's like the OG when it comes to women quarterbacks, women FPF players. Canada, like she is Captain Canada.
Yeah.
When it comes to flag football. Where does she rank though currently amongst the women quarterback in the division?
It's an interesting question because
Thanks, man.
Like you're
Put
saying,
some thought into it.
Thanks.
I really appreciate the compliment, but let's focus on Vanessa Beery.
That's what I'm doing.
I know.
It's an interesting question because of the young generational talent that's coming up, right? In all seriousness, the Maud Lacasses, the Sarah Parkers, the now Anika Browns. Let's see how
the guy Benny who's not even playing quarterback.
Exactly. Some of the other quarterbacks that haven't played as many games, Sandrine Gobet-Huot, who won Division Women's 1 last year with Les Bleus. There's Emmanuel Bransard of Bleu Pou, the finalist in that matchup against Les Bleus. I want to see, the full 10-game schedule at the end of the season. I'm going to say she's right in the top 3, right? Is my sense of the things. I still think some of the younger quarterbacks need that development, and then they're going to go through some rough patches. For the most part, I feel like everyone top 5, top 6 are going to put up great numbers, and I just think Vanessa Beery is going to be in the top 3.
20-26 in her first game back.
Damn. Yep.
4 touchdowns, 1 interceptions. 128 rating.
Oof.
You know what I mean? That's
Maud
she's the standard.
Maud Lacasse is putting up a 128 after 3 games, though.
Yeah,
QBR.
absolutely. But again, that's the thing is it must be so cool for Vanessa Beery to have stepped away from flag for a little, from FPF for a little bit.
Yeah.
Come back, still be at the top, but then also see these generational female talents. Like we talked about Sarah Parker, we talked about Maud Lacasse, and we just met Anika Browns.
Yeah.
We just met Gab Vanier and she got taken from us, and then they replaced her with someone who they think is better because she's starting.
Yeah. 11 TDs to 0 picks. 11 to 0.
It's the
new norm.
The first time I saw the actual women's division, when I saw all this motion and it changed my entire approach to flag football.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I learned so much from watching. It was a game between
Vortex.
No, this was before. It was
before
Bleu Pod and I want to
Les Bleus.
Probably Bleu.
Yeah.
And I was blown. I was like, the way that these teams use the field and use motion and the way the motion interrupts the rusher, the way it impacts
legally
the defense and what the defense can do, because most teams line up their defense 5 across, right? Yeah. You motion a player to the other side and stack them on one side. Yeah. So now one player has two receivers in front of them. If the stack is inside, the rusher can't take away all 3 routes. Yeah. And then you have 2 people covering one person on the backside.
Yeah.
And I was like, why don't more teams use stacks and motions and dude, at some point, you have all these receivers stacked, and it looked like a claw was coming out because they all break off in different directions.
I know what you're saying.
It's really been impressive to see how they use the playbook, considering how static FPF looked when I first started. Mm-hmm. To seeing their involvement and their division here, it's really been eye-opening. Look, from a throwing perspective, Vanessa Beery is one of the best throwers of the football I've ever seen. And
her Lauren Parker, like
Yeah.
like
just
all of
mechanically
football,
perfect.
Yeah,
Um,
not just the women's, like all of football.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Two of the best throwers in football I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And so now I'm curious to see, how, because she's still been playing. So like, women's division is separate from FPF, right? Just like co-ed has its own rules, the rules that are similar to the men's league, but women's is its own set of rules. And so I'm curious to see now. I haven't had the chance to see her play in a women's game in FPF yet.
Yes, I know. Yeah,
So
me
I know
neither.
she's thrown a couple times for Flamaros and stuff,
Yes,
but
yeah.
now this is a full season with her. Let's hope. Let's
And
see what it looks like.
I want to say Team Texas in 2020, which again it was limited to
But
Monday
limited.
nights in Stade de Montréal, which was really just their field and
Yeah.
which
Can we stop doing that? We need to be able to see these teams.
yeah.
Put them everywhere.
Yeah.
Is it related to theirs? Like, it's not related to the university schedule because there's no games now.
There's no. Oh right, yeah, no.
So why do we do that? It's so stupid. I don't know. Sorry. I don't always agree with FPF top brass, which is ironic because I'm relatively FPF top brass. Like, the people in this room are largely involved in a lot of the decisions being made, but those ones unfortunately are above our pay grade. Eagle, do you have an answer as to why we do that?
I have no idea. I don't deal with the schedule.
Do you think it's stupid?
Yes.
There we go.
Calling the
3 versus 1,
audible.
Rob.
Calling out.
Calling out the audible.
Yeah.
Blue Pud and UDM.
Our media
were-
passes are gonna get revoked one of these days.
they were in some close games in their openers.
Yeah.
Which is cool because we thought
Yes.
they were going to be two of the best teams in the division. But so Les Bleus are the UDM offense,
That's so weird.
and the other one, Montreal U, is the UDM defense. But remember, there's different rules, right?
Yeah.
So, given the way the rules are set for the women's division, who has the advantage and why? Let's use that as a chance to talk about both teams.
Yeah. You know what? I like the way where if you have a good defense, it kind of, it's not that it sets up your offense because you get the ball back at your own 5-yard line. But I was going to say defense, but now I'm going to go offense. Because of that.
You
Because
convince yourself.
yes, because the rules push you back, and it's not necessarily the defense that pushes you back and makes you drive the long field.
But in the first game, Montreal U wins 1914. Defensive struggle, right? Like they play to their advantage. They know what they are.
Yeah.
What's cool is those two teams have an absolute identity.
Yeah.
The first game, we get an interception by Alexia Duquette already, right? We see that in the game against Les Bleus, we see them basically.
Well, Sandrine
stifle-
Gobet-Huot only completing 17 passes, right? Equaling the same number of
41
yards.
attempts.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's
Yeah.
Holy. Wow.
like absolute bend but don't break. And when given the opportunity, they got an interception. Sure. Elizabeth Ashkar threw 2 interceptions, right?
Yeah.
Didn't matter because of how good the defense is. So I mean, like maybe that's that it plays to their, like, definitely it will play to their advantage because they know what they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like maybe that does give them the advantage over their counterparts, right?
So here's a stat that I think might be very interesting that we're overlooking here. Look at Annie Lagacé as receiver. Targeted 9 times, 1 reception, right?
Mhm.
The 1 reception happens to be a TD for 23 yards. So
Right.
basically just up the sideline or whatever it is. Look at the U defense here. You have Laurence Caron with 5 PDs. You think that was the one-on-one matchup that Montreal U was winning every single time, essentially? Because
That
that's what it looks like on paper.
Could be.
Yeah.
And Elodie Simoneau getting 3 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
And sacks in the women's division is huge.
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 Yes.
So yeah, I just thought that was a cool tidbit of how those two teams were developed.
I
Sorry,
know.
go ahead.
I know how good Mathilde Renault is. And the stats show it in this game: 6 receptions on 8 targets for 82 yards and a touchdown. She was the MVP for Vortex in their game against Les Bleus. But Emma Racine, 1 catch, 22 yards. Like, it's a great catch, downfield, and pretty much gets a first down for a 25-yard yardage to get a first down. But to only be targeted once, Emma Racine, I don't know, been a while from FPF, but I'm sure she's been playing elsewhere. unless she's coming back from a big injury. There was some word of an injury, so maybe it's just a big return.
Yeah, maybe just working her in.
Yeah, she needs to be used more in the offense, in my opinion. But Mathilde Renault, she's a stud, and yeah, I just think a bit more. I want to say ball distribution, but just from the height.
Given that Les Bleus are a university quality flag team.
Yeah.
Scored 14 points.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
they moved the ball.
It's not like
they
didn't
had,
move
they
the
had
ball.
almost 300 yards of offense.
Yeah.
On a 40-yard field, dude. Like it's a lot. And
Yeah.
it just they got choked out. They
And
just could not score. They
in
couldn't
the
punch
red
it in.
zone. Yeah, in the red zone. They must have gotten, stuck there. Gotten first downs, but
Yeah.
because if we look on the page, they did get 7 first downs. So to your point, they're moving the ball. First downs are like I said, it's about 20 yards for the first down.
Yeah.
So, and they got 7.
And you can only get one first down per drive.
Yes.
So
that's
7 drives.
Yeah.
They accomplished the first goal, which is get to half field.
Get half field, exactly. Now then converting 16% on fourth down. So yeah, right? That's the fourth down is pretty much the red zone at that point. Or red zone, it's just because you can only pick up one first down. So yeah, that was their downfall in the game.
And then Bleu Poudre, who are the UCAM team.
Yeah.
I spoke to Maud Lacasse in the offseason.
Uh-huh.
And she was down because of her loss to Vortex, and I was like, yeah, like, look, you're amazing. You're gonna be back there. And she said, well, with a lot of the university teams, it's gonna be tough. But you know what? She hung in with Bleu Poudre.
Yep.
Lost a really close game. Do you think that this is a moral victory for Brut early in the season, saying like, you know what, we can, if this is a playoff game, we can hang with them. Next one could be ours.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is, especially for Bleu Poudre being the finalist. I believe on their road to the final took out Brut. I could be wrong about that, but definitely both of these teams made the playoffs and Bleu Poudre made it further. So yeah, definitely down the line, game like this, those little adjustments that they're gonna have to make, especially on the extra points. Maud Lacasse and the Bruts team ate up the extra points in the Fall Cup against lower caliber competition. Bleu Poudre know what's coming from basic plays that the Brut have to change up, maybe tweak, add 1, maybe 2 more plays, 1 for an extra point 1, 1 for an extra point 2, and just test out the defenses because they know what's coming. Bleu Poudre, the smash outs and the ins back of the end zone are not going to work against a more experienced team like Bleu Poudre.
You need more dynamic plays.
Yeah.
Mirrors won't work against them at all. You need more dynamic play concepts, I think, in against a team like that.
Yeah.
And on top of that, defensively, Catherine Gaumont getting 9 catches on 10 targets. Beatrice Bouchard catching 10 passes on 16 targets. Like, the ball's going there.
Yeah.
I know they're amazing.
Yes.
You got to do something to take it away.
Yes. Yes.
Sell out to take it away.
I'm surprised. Yeah, that's because the Brut defense is aggressive. Like, maybe they're giving up too much short yardage, and I know those two, Catherine Gaumont, snapper, and Beatrice Bouchard, once they get those 2 yards, 3 yards, they can take it upfield, and they, like you were saying at the top of the women's division, the playbook makes so that there's open space, on a drag, everyone flooding one way.
But by using those stacks and motions, you create space.
Yes.
And it makes it harder to, because like, again, you hide someone behind a stack, and then the drag breaks out in front of you, but you have 2 people in your way before you can cover that.
Yeah.
So like, you need to anticipate it and have someone coming from the backside to cover, which is a hard concept. But Brut, to me, are the kind of team, because of that hive mind style communication they have, that to me is something that they can institute, where it's like, well, let's be the defense that forces turnovers. We'll take chances.
Yeah. And
maybe we'll give up a score, but we have a great quarterback. She's gonna keep us in the game. So let's force turnovers on defense. I think that's, they got one with Virginie Roussel's interception, but like, plan for it. Plan to take some of that away. When I look at what they did offensively, Laurence Pomperian, of course, I've been fawning over her for a couple of seasons now in terms of how great she is in the red zone and how great she is on key downs. But Anipi Berube, sorry, was great in this game as well.
Mhm.
They're really well built. I think everything from their timing, communication, the skill set that they have, the quarterbacking. I think Brut are going to be every bit as good as the university teams. And
Agreed.
this game to me cements that.
Yeah.
It was Blue Put's first game of the season. I get that, but at the same time, Brut are like, no, we're here to play. We're here to play, and I like that a lot.
Agreed.
I like that a lot. In women's 2, there was a 6-2 game, and Les Petits Miettes were the only team to touch the end zone. Both for both teams, because Vanessa Pierre got a stack. She got a sack for a safety in this game.
So technically, she did touch the end zone.
Well, yeah, but not with the ball. Like, the only time the ball got into the end zone,
flag,
it was Les Petits Miettes won both sides of this. A little bit of an ugly game. How disappointing do you find this outing for Vanessa Pierre?
Yeah. 2 points not coming from you passing the ball.
Like, yeah, she was defensively great. That safety is huge, but never capitalizing on offense.
This is the Vanessa Pierre of Paquer.
Pucker, yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised because we saw her throw in co-ed and pretty decent. Now, how
She does get like some lock vision that she
Yeah.
stares down and read,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah.
And so that's something she's going to have to adapt to. But yeah, so I think, look, you score 2 points, you're going to be disappointed with your outing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously.
But more than that, like if we look beyond that, we see on 39 attempts only completing 14 passes. That's not going to sustain drives. Look, I don't know if there were drops. I don't know if they were missed targets. But
Right.
your
I
two top
probably-
receivers having less than 50% or less catch rate is not going to help you out.
Probably a bit of both.
Probably a bit of both. And Simied are a solid defensive team, right? So
Yep.
that does track somewhat. But Morgan Cosimano Valois, I feel like she had the same game except she scored the touchdown. She played the same
Yeah.
caliber of game as Vanessa Pierre, but just happened to score.
Well, like, and especially if you, I don't want to just dismiss it, I guess, but 14 of 39 for Vanessa Pierre, 8 of those were PD'd by the Ptsimiet defense, right?
Yeah, Melissa Gartin was Melissa Gartin was awesome. Malika Lachance as well.
Yeah, Rachel Shea with another 2. So that really becomes, let's just say, a 14 of 31 kind of stat line. And to your point, 14 of 25 for Morgan Cosimano Valois. So yeah, similar.
And yardage is about the same too.
Exactly, but yes, the one touchdown. I'm not surprised that it comes from Marie-Pierre Dalpe. She's one of those great-handed receivers, very reliable, and 54 yards. She showed it in, I want to say it was the spring season where they went to the finals against Red Nation.
Yeah.
Throughout that season, she showed that she was the best receiver on the team. And so her touchdown ended up being the game winner.
I didn't realize that she averages about 12 yards a catch.
Yeah.
In her career in FPF. I didn't.
Good.
I thought she was more of a possession receiver, but she clearly can
Has-
make things work in open space.
Yeah, she's she reminds me of a certain player on my men's team where you don't expect the speed to come with the bigger frame. She definitely great hands, great speed. She needs to get a bit more involved. Even though 4 of 6 is getting involved, I wouldn't mind seeing 6 of 8 on for target reception.
Like she's gonna have to be the best receiver in that team
Yeah.
for sure. Rachel Shea, really good. I like her as a two-way player
Yes,
a lot.
yes.
But to me, she's really a defensive specialist. It's no, not surprising to see her having such a big impact on the game on the defensive side.
Yeah.
You need to start a women's team tomorrow. You're the GM. You're the team owner.
Okay.
Who is your number 1 receiver and why? And let's look at a couple of options.
Let's do this. So
Women's 2.
in women's too, right?
Yeah.
So you're asking more of like the type of receiver, or
Well, let's look at some of the top ones. Break
Yeah.
down the different type, and then you choose based on your preference, right?
so
We talked about Dalpe, but I feel like
yeah.
with our playbook, maybe she's not as effective, right?
No, not necessarily true. Although
So given the different rule set of the women's division,
Yeah.
does that alter the way you approach the game? Like I know you mentioned your playbook piece, but does
That's a
that
good point, 'cause our
work in the
playbooks
women's
wouldn't work in
division?
women's.
Because I would want more of like I think what I'll describe as an explosive playmaker rather than consistent. Because I think if you have like. I know you're like about it, but that's kind of the way I'm looking at how the women's rules are designed. Where
But
it's
I
not
think making people miss is
yes,
huge.
it's
in women's.
huge. So
But like Constance Miller, for example, is to me
Yes,
a very
I know.
dependable receiver, and
Yes.
she's one of the best receivers in Canada.
yes, I saw the name there, Constance Mila. I think it's easy to say.
Yeah,
Like I'd want her on number 1, but to me, I don't know. What do you think? To me, she's more of that possession reliable receiver. I don't necessarily.
she's someone
see-
again that would fit our offense
Yes.
specifically well. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like I don't see her as being the absolute speedster to like to get downfield.
So I did a weird thing where I made the link set, the Audible Lynx, a minor league
Yes.
baseball team. They're actually related to the Edouard Mopetsi program.
yeah, I don't know
Very
why you
obvious.
did
I don't know, man. It's a 3-hour show. It's long. It's hard. This is
that. Yes.
this is a really hard show to do. It's
By the way.
240 teams to cover. There's a lot.
Yes. Yeah, I mean that's an obvious one.
Maryse Paquette
Maryse Paquette.
in her like 246 yards in 3 games. Like that's
Yeah, 24 of 29 target reception. There's clearly a link there between her and her quarterback, Karianne Auger, who I believe was throwing in co-ed of spring season as well. I want to get the name, Blue Wave. Blue Wave
Yeah.
in the spring season. In that season, receiver Maryse Paquette had 47 receptions in 9 games, 362 yards, 5 touchdowns. So there's, like we're suggesting, clear connection there, but also a reliable receiver that doesn't drop balls. To me, that's one of the ones that it's catching 2-yard hooks and taking it, an extra 7-8 yards.
So basically, Iggy, you're saying you would rather someone you can scheme to be open rather
Yes.
than someone who wins the straight up one-on-one.
Yeah.
I have another name too, Erica Roussel.
Okay.
She
14 for 14.
Yeah.
but also so you see okay, she played Lelou, right? Lelou, she only had 2 catches, 14 yards.
Uh-huh.
So where she actually did the most of her damage was against Les Petits-Miettes, who have a pretty good defense.
Yeah.
12 catches, 187 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Wow.
Averaging almost 16 yards a catch. Like that's,
Stands out and
that says a lot. Like given the athletes we just talked about on their defense, the fact that again, first of all, she hasn't dropped anything.
Yeah.
When you go to her, it's a catch.
Yeah.
And the fact that she seems to be so explosive, the fact that she has nose for the end zone, and she did it. It looks like against Lelou, like okay, well, let's rotate people. Let's not.
Yeah.
Let's not. There's no need to go to our top receivers all the time. But against a better defense, the Pittsimiet, they really showcased her.
And I think Cara Babe's Alexia Vidi is a similar profile to that. So that's another name I would throw into the conversation.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance yet to see any of the Cavaliers games, but knowing
Babes.
They were coached by
Oh,
Alex
Cavaliers,
David
yes,
and
yes.
Kevin Lubin.
Yeah.
I would imagine what they do well is running. That's what those guys. That's what they focus on. So I'd like to see Chloe Simard in person. I just haven't had a chance, or Charlotte Grimel as well. I'm curious to see how their offense is deployed in the women's division. I'm curious. I'm curious to see it. I just haven't had a chance to come across it yet. I've been playing the same nights at a different field, so I haven't had a chance to see them yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's. It's cool. It's cool to see some up and coming stars because by now women's one is more familiar to us, right?
Yeah.
We were idiots last year not knowing anything about
Yeah.
the women's division, but it was important for us to learn about it, and we've started to. And now with women's 2, we're starting to see some stars develop too, and that's fun.
Yeah,
that's
it
really
is.
fun.
Absolutely.
On 35 plus, how surprised are you that Rainmakers are 0-3?
Oh, we're skipping Div 6?
Yeah, we'll go after.
We'll
go back.
We'll do it.
I would have though. If you didn't mention it, I would have skipped it.
Yes,
'Cause I just
know.
scrolled too far.
Yeah. Rainmakers being 0-3. How surprised? Rust versus rest. They're obviously showing a lot of rust so far. I'm not totally surprised. I'm more surprised that they've only put up 38 points in the 3 games, regardless of their record, right? Obviously, that's not going to win you a lot of games. It was close against Monster, though, 24-19.
But so
18-12 in their last game. Their only blowout was the Gladiators. The last 2 games have been close. They've been competitive.
I do like that they have a player on their team named Kirk.
Yeah.
Technically, he's not on the actual roster. which
Kirk?
I should probably remove, but anyway.
Kirk Cousins?
Kirk? The question is whether or not we like it. But so Mo, this is a Mo question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mo does a thing where, again, I think he just stopped learning things in 2016 or 2017. Like I don't think that. I know Rainmakers are a famous team from ESU and
Right.
FPF, but okay, they were a Division 1 team back in the day. I don't even think at their prime they could compete against the top 4 Division 1 teams we described earlier,
Right.
like the All Stars and.
Where would they fit today? In Div 4?
3 or 4.
3 or
might
4?
feel.
Probably
3 or
they'd
4.
probably be a Div 3 team.
Okay.
I think they'd be a low Div 3 team.
Now or in their prime back then?
They'd probably be better in Div 3. They were better in Div 3 in the prime.
In their prime, right.
Specifically the quarterbacking.
I feel like now.
So you're saying
Ryan
take
Castner.
the best iteration of Rainmakers in their prime and slot them into Winter 23. Where do they play?
Yeah. Pease is suggesting
they'd
Div
be a good Div 3, low end Div 2 team. I think.
Yep, I would agree with that.
Nice.
And
And today's version?
because the thing is, like the league
Today's
is
version.
expanded.
You mean take this roster, put them in men's?
Yes.
4.
Right now they're
5A.
Yeah. It's complicated because Ryan Castner, I think, is
I
still
get it.
a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
But like they're a close group of guys, so
Yep.
it's not. They're not going to compete against some of the speed and athleticism of these teams that are just all these teams we've been talking about all show long, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
they would struggle with that. And like they lost to Gladiator, which they were a lower. I think they were a Division 2 team back in the day,
Okay.
right? So like
Yeah.
it's.
And they could. Yeah.
Or no, Gladiator. Well, they quarterback by Lobo, so like
Yeah.
they probably have to be Division 1 back in the day. But like there also was no cap. Like it was a more complicated. It's complicated to in any sport. It's complicated to compare eras, and it's weird to talk about FPF and eras. But it feels like an era in FPF is about 3 years long,
Yeah.
and then there's like just
cycle.
changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So François Lebeau was sort of these top tier guys back in the day for Gladiator, and so was Ryan Castner, and I don't think that they're nearly as good as Joe Maher or Dan Lazara or some of those top guys, right? Even Nado Hughes, like we've talked about.
Yeah.
So given that, it's not surprising to me because I think Monster's better and I think Pacemakers are better.
Yep.
I
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I can't disagree with that, right? Like, especially because those 3, they've continued their pace of play in FPF.
Yeah.
They've kept up playing, and again, I'm more surprised with just 38 points in 3 games. To me, that's the biggest surprise.
But that's it. Like,
Because the defense is doing pretty well. Like, allowing 73 points is not bad in FPF. It's the second lowest in the Legends.
no,
division.
and they intercepted Peterkin twice.
Yeah.
Right. So like, they're clearly having an impact that way. And other than the first game where Brian Castner, again, first time he's throwing in forever, he threw 3 interceptions, completed 30% of his passes, right?
Yeah.
Since then, he's been better, although
Yeah.
he's never cleared the 60% mark so far. And that to me is, I think, a factor of, that he's not necessarily up to date with how FPF feels today, right? And I think that that's going to come over time. Like the talent is there.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just finding the way to use your players and putting them in the best possible situation. He's a 5-time All-Star playing Division 1.
There's something there.
There's something there.
Yeah.
There's something there.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
in any era, it doesn't matter. He's really good. He just hasn't thrown in a while, and the team itself, I don't think is as strong as
Fair.
I would say they're probably the weakest roster. And
Yeah.
Eagle, like Rainmakers as well as I do. Do you think I'm out of line saying that?
I I think given a few more games, they're going to get back into the rhythm. I think the getting back into it is the part where I'm giving them benefit of the doubt because I know how good they've been and I know how good they can be if they get back to any semblance. And obviously, their competition is not in their prime anymore either. So I'm kind of like, I'll put that on neutral ground. And so I think it's just a matter of execution to try and get there.
Yeah. And look, I hope that's the case because they're great dudes and they're part of they're a rich they're part of the rich history of FPF, right? So it doesn't surprise me that they're struggling, but I do think they'll be better. And I guess I'm being abandoned.
He will tell you what's going on.
I guess I'm being abandoned. Well, I'm gonna start asking you some questions, Eagle.
Yes, sir.
With the talent they have, could JMJ make a run for the top spot in KTFL?
So actually, wait here. You know what? Just to make this interesting, here's what we're gonna do.
I
We're
thought you were leaving also.
No.
Oh, you're gonna be on camera for the first time ever?
I mean, I figure
People are gonna find out what you look like?
Yes, this is exactly what I look
How's
like.
it going,
I
Eagle?
didn't switch the scene. I
This
gotta
is-
be right back.
Yeah.
This is much more difficult when it's a different setup and everything. But
You can just stay in your seat.
no,
Okay.
no, it's way more fun like this and everything. So, what was the question?
Given their
This is going
talent,
great, by the way. Thanks, guys.
can they be the top team in the division?
I think so. I mean, there is definitely a core here in terms of, Rossies, I should say. Yavar, they already have chemistry together and everything. And then you bring in the core of GM Clethrith, Terry Tam, George Kalamat. I can't even pronounce that last name. The Greek squad, as I'll describe it. I think there's a group that you can kind of build around in terms of this roster. Can they be the best team? That's the part where I'm a little bit more hesitant on because it is a draft division, right? And if I remember, I'd usually scroll to it. Jeff Rosenblatt is also captaining one of these teams. If it's the FPF group, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And that roster is also pretty solid in terms of who's on it and everything.
Those are the top two for me. I like this roster overall. I think Terry Tam is an underrated player in FPF, and he's had an impact on the team. He leads the team in touchdowns already. Tanner Burrell too is not someone who people think of necessarily, but he's a really, really good player who's just useful in a lot of different ways. He doesn't play beyond himself. He knows what he's good at and does that.
It's the classic role play on our team, right? Like, hey, you
Yeah.
need someone to rush. You need someone to take away the corner or the flats. You need that kind of like check down or the sideline comeback person. He'll play that role, snapper,
But is
whatever
this
it is.
team entirely composed of role players? like again, Tanner and Terry Tam and GM Calathris and Yavar Ashrafi.
So this is going to be a little bit of a hot take, but when we're talking about draft, this isn't a fantasy team, right? Where you need like your WR1 and whatever it is to carry that or your running back, etc. You can build a draft team with a bunch of role players and have the better ones stand out and become the key players on your roster. Like I'd rather have, like you said, multiple role players than having the one person you have to rely on because the one game that guy can't make it or he's shut down, then you have no one else to go to. I'd rather have an army of, I'll call it B tier, if I want to use that term, so that you do have that choice to move things around, that you're unpredictable, that if someone's having a bad game, they can be covered by someone else. So I do like that feel of the concept of the role player kind of carrying the entire core.
Yeah, and what's going to be tough is Paul Vijar. They're weirdly 2-1 with the best record, and they have a negative points against, which is always fun. When Craig O'Brien's there, Craig O'Brien's an exceptional quarterback. He's great for 35 plus. They seem to have a really good offensive unit. And again, let's keep in mind that O'Brien only threw 2 games so far. But I think like they have pieces like Vince Mancini and Jadariti and
look out for Chris Rosen. He's always been the explosive one that's always catches people off guard because he doesn't look the part, but my God, is that guy fast and has great hands. Chris Rosen.
Yeah.
Chris, yeah.
Yeah, Chris. That's the thing is like, that's the thing that Paul Vij has versus a team like JMJ. Where we're saying to JMJ, Iggy, thank you for returning to your own show.
It's your show.
They're basically composed of basically they're all role players. They all do something really well, but they all are just that. Whereas like Chris Rosen, I think, is a really special talent. On
Also, hold on.
Kobe's, for example.
Jadaridi is 35.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Man, I'm old.
We've
You're
we've
old?
all known each other a long time, man.
I like that roster, and it's,
Yeah, this to me is a
and this is Craig
Incredible.
O'Brien throwing for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I like that.
yeah. Like I said, when Craig O'Brien's there, they're gonna be to me they're gonna be the class of the division. I think.
The class.
Yeah.
I saw Chris Olsen yesterday.
Okay.
Throwing for Paramount, right?
Mhm.
Beautiful corner route to David Weiss, which he had been just playing at 9:00 against me in Division 5 with the West Island boys. And he's the one who picked me off. So and he's like, you got to stay and watch 35 plus. I didn't get the chance to say, but like, dude, with the snowstorm, like, yeah, I know you guys have beers. You like incentivize me and with a beer, like, it was late. It was with that snowstorm. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a trek back. But Chris Olsen and Paramount are from a drive or two that I saw. He, and especially with the week, we talked about it a bit last week. Chris Olsen looked the part last week. And from a drive or
Yeah,
two.
he gets a little too aggressive at times.
But he looked the part again. I'm like, yeah, he looks like he's on fire.
Yeah, there's games where he just doesn't connect to his receivers, and hopefully that doesn't happen because he's got a good core here. You got Kareem Yasmin, Scott Benz, like we talked about last week, Robert White. Like, it's a solid team.
Yeah.
Look, it is a draft division, right? So I don't think anyone's gonna blow anyone out of the water. So
Again, I want to know how they. Nah, wasn't a draft. Come on, Yavar playing with Jason. And like, nah.
well, he drafted people he knows,
I
right?
guess,
Like,
yeah.
like it still ends up being. It's a draft division, but you end up drafting a lot of the guys you play with normally because
True.
you
yeah.
play with them normally.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
You know what's the question we haven't asked? Who was Mr. Irrelevant?
Oh, I'm curious. Actually, we gotta get to Dave Allen. We gotta find out who's the Brock Purdy
Oh, yeah.
of the KTFL draft division. But yeah, like I'll say this.
Yeah, who
like,
cares about the first
like-
pick? I
like-
care about
like-
the last pick.
like you talked about Yavar, right? Like he's a guy who I play with a lot, and he might be overlooked by a lot of other teams because he's older. He's not flashy, but he's one of my favorite defenders to have on my team
Yep.
because he's a good leader. He's a good dude, and he's always going to make plays. He's always going to make plays. They might not be pick sixes. It may not be flashy,
Yeah.
but he's gonna play his role very well.
Yep.
He's gonna play his role very well. In D2, when will Got Skills?
Oh my God, this guy.
Oh, Div 6.
We even
I
moved,
moved it.
in the middle area,
Oh.
and you still managed to mess it up.
Thank you, Eagle. Your screaming popped my left ear, and I'm back now on both audios.
We've been called out for sleeping on Win Diesel.
Yeah,
By
Fair
whom?
criticism?
by your guy, Marcus Lynch.
Marcus Lynch, yeah. Who's amazing, by the way.
Which then, by the way, I'll call out their team captain who emailed us and who argued and for Will Sabag to
Sabag.
throw in Div 6, which
Well, they didn't do that. What they did was they tried to cheat. And We
Right.
caught them, and we figured out something. We're allowing Will Sabag to throw.
Which-
It's fine. I don't
which-
think it was ridiculous.
yeah,
But they could have just asked us instead
Right.
of trying to cheat because they tried to cheat.
which
simple.
which again, I think it's fine in Division 6. But the one point was like with a team that mostly has never played football, Marcus Lynch on the on the roster.
Who we were talking this week, and he's like, "Yeah, it's university like a recruiting season, so like I'm getting in best shape I can."
Yeah.
And like yeah,
So, like,
university
te-
recruiting season.
Like peak Marcus Lynch.
So,
y-
and
I
to
played
be,
with Marcus Lynch.
to be
He's
clear on
amazing.
this,
Yeah.
we're sleeping on Win Diesel, who are currently 2-0 against a 1-2 Demons, of which they scored 21 points, and 12 to 18 win over. I said that weird. Practice Squad,
Yeah.
who I think also are. Let me just check and everything. Are 2-1 at this point. Like those aren't great wins. We're not sleeping on you. Do better.
yeah.
Next week, you're going to have a tight game. I think you're going to lose that game in a shootout. And then the week after, you're going to get destroyed. So we're not sleeping on you. And then week 7 against Trailer Park Boys, you're not going to score. Sorry, guys. I think you're going
No,
0. I think you're going 0-3 in the next 3 weeks.
No, they're
Yep.
they're not gonna get shut out by Trailer Park Boys.
Maybe they'll get a score. That game is going to be like 24-6.
No, and
I don't know because Junior Boys weirdly only played one game, and it was the game's top G and whatever. It's first game of the season, right? So you have
Yeah.
no idea how
they're not
going
going to shut them down. Will Sabag's a good quarterback.
He gets 1 TD.
He's good. No. No. So Texas Cooches is the team I sub for.
Chooches.
Yeah, Chooches. Yeah, I always got. Yes, thank you.
So is it Chooches and Donkey or Chooches in like a big strong arm? Are they Italian or not?
Yes,
They're Italian.
some of them, not all of them. When
Chooch
Diesel's
is like a donkey in Italian.
okay. When Diesel's gonna
Why are there
Win-
900 people on this team?
yes, I know. Yes. When Diesel has more experience, they're gonna beat them.
I don't think so.
No, they're
I don't think so.
They're gonna beat them.
I don't think so.
They are.
Played for them. You would know, no?
Yes, I subbed. They're gonna beat them.
I don't think so.
Like you don't know the division you play in. LaSalle Warriors mentioned yes. Look, are they gonna get destroyed? They're gonna let up 50 points or 45 points, yeah. But
If they don't score more than 3 times, they're going to get destroyed.
but when Diesel's gonna put up 24, 30, maybe.
Nope.
Maybe.
They haven't scored more than 21 yet.
So so hold on. So they should be putting up 26 or 30. So yes, to Eagles' point, do better. Absolutely, they should be putting up more points than this with a very good quarterback, and with Marcus Lynch as your wide receiver 1, you should be putting up 26 to 30 points,
Yeah.
and you're not. So do better. And yes,
Giancarlo Raquela's on the team also. He looks to be solid. Felix Sebag, probably some sort of relation to Williams. So you would imagine they have some connection.
right.
So, again, we're focusing on the player that we know. We know William Sabag. We know Marcus Lynch. William Sabag, I think, is probably at the top end of raw skill quarterbacking for Division 6. I
Yep.
think he has a lot to learn in FPF.
Yep.
And Marcus Lynch, he played for us in Division C, and it was not out of place in Division C on a team that was one throw away from going to the championship. So yeah, he's really good.
Yep.
He's really, really good.
And even the
But
captain,
even that's to Eagles' point. That's why we're disappointed that you have probably the best player in the division.
Yep.
You have a quarterback who's competent. You only scoring 3 times.
Yeah.
A game.
So and
not
even their non-football pieces, they're good. They're not bad. They're not out of place.
I remember seeing them saying like, "Oh, they look really athletic," and then looking down at the scoreboard and they were losing, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay." So
Yeah.
they just don't know
they
the game.
just don't know the game. That's it.
That's fine.
Yeah. Yep.
It'll come. I do like the name as a Fast and Furious fanatic. I will always appreciate it. But they are winning. The results are there, but they beat Practice Squad 6. They beat Demons to Eagles Point, who are struggling. The next few games do get more difficult, all the way down to where they play Duimalas.
Yeah.
So the next 4 games, I think, are challenging.
A quarterback that does have FPF experience, Frank Teoli Colatrella, in Division 6 with Why So Serious. They get a win over Towers FT. I believe Towers FT are being coached, or at least sideline coached, by Alex Joltapov.
Okay.
So there is some hey, this is what you should be doing, and some sideline coaching. So to beat them 19 to 12 after Towers FT put up 72 last week, that ridiculous number. Looking at the Why So Serious schedule, how many wins do we see for them in their future?
So I have a couple of friends playing on the team.
Yeah.
Matthew Tamilia, who I refer to them
Right.
actually. And I don't know if Nick Strider's a full-time player or not. He's a mammoth human being, so he's a
Mhm.
great red zone target if you got him. But the key name for me on this team is Joe Marzolano. He's been unable, I think, to get Frank Colatrella to play at a level I think that he can play at, because we've talked about it ad nauseum.
Yeah.
Frank needs to be better. He's physically gifted enough to be better.
Yeah.
He just needs to call better plays, make better decisions. This is promising because they played a team who was more athletic than they are, younger than they are.
Mm-hmm.
some familiar names like George Spano on
Right,
that team
yeah.
on Towers
Yep.
FT.
Mm-hmm.
Not super familiar to us, but I saw I couldn't see the game super well because it was 2 fields away from mine
Okay.
while my game was happening.
Yeah.
And our game was pretty fast paced, so I didn't catch as much of it as I'd like to. But what I did see was Frank Dioli leading on Robert DLC.
Mm-hmm. Which you can do, and
You can't look. Rob's good.
yeah,
He's a really reliable player.
Yeah.
But is it still Frank Dioli, Colatrella predetermining reads? Is it him forcing it to where he feels most comfortable? The thing with Why So Serious is it's gonna depend on who they're facing, right? So like
Yeah.
they're the quintessential matchup dependent team.
Yeah.
They have a chance against Threat Level Midnight because
I
Threat
think
Level
so.
Midnight aren't as explosive a team
Yeah.
as some of the other teams in the division. Gyprock State University
I'd see a win there.
has a win there as well. Maybe Gru's Crew.
Maybe.
So
Back to the
4-win
Future
season
looks-
4.
Yeah.
I'm torn. Part of me says that's promising for Why So Serious, but given how long DLC and Frank Dioli Colatrella have worked together at this, they got to be further along.
Yeah.
So I'm saying 4 wins. If they can get to 6-7 wins, that's really impressive.
That would be a success.
And like they put up 6 points against Toon Squad. Toon Squad is a middle of the pack team.
That's a team they should not beat up on, but fine.
It should have been on par. Like you lose that game 27-26, you lose that
Yeah.
game 27-19. Sure.
or win it 28,
yeah.
27. Yeah, like
You should have been in that game.
you can't put up 6 against their defense. They're good. They're an average defense, but with your experience, you shouldn't be going 9 for 27 and throwing 2 picks and 1 TD.
Yeah. I'm inclined to agree there. But again, let's not be bleak, right? They won. They won.
Yeah.
They beat a team that was more athletic than they are. That's great. They have some size, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can, honestly, with their size, they can run all hooks 60% of the time.
Yep.
And like, there's a thing that like lower division teams don't do is you can mask all hooks because a lot of teams will run all hooks on first down, but second and third down is usually the best time to run all hooks because it's easier to hide it into your play calling.
Yes.
Whereas like when teams know you're running it on first down, it's more risky to run because like okay, first down they always run all hooks, run man. But now on second and third down, especially like second and 10, third and 10, it makes the next down more makeable if you
Yes.
just complete a 4 or 5 yard hook.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's how you sustain drives. It's how you limit interceptions. I was stubborn as hell. I had to learn that lesson. It's like, hey, sometimes you just need to get 4 or 5 yards and make the next down more makeable.
And let the receivers do
Yeah.
the work.
Because that's the other thing. You throw a 4 yard hook, guy misses a tackle, or the DB just bails, and all of a sudden you have a first down.
Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah.
Take whatever's given to you. you know?
Exactly.
So far, who's been the most impressive? Which has been the most impressive subdivision? And let's do this top to bottom.
Okay. Division 6.
So Group A, No Fly Zone, Maccabees, Why So Serious, Towers FT, Gyprock State University. All right,
Can I
next.
just start by saying no?
Yeah.
So, like,
next.
Gyprock State University, they've scored 12 points in 3 games.
Yikes.
I don't unless you're getting a lot of safeties. I don't even know how that's possible. If you average it out to 4 points a game.
2 touchdowns.
Towers FT looked really good, and then kind of looked kind of meh. Why So Serious have been kind of what we expected. No Fly Zone looks good. No Fly Zone, I think. Just looking at them here.
Yeah.
Again, some of the more familiar. There's some familiar names, but a lot of new
Adam
players here.
Ricci.
I like Ali Alvi, has been impactful so far, as has Lucas Gonzalez. Adam Ricci, he's been okay, completing passes, they're moving the ball.
Not scoring enough,
Not
but
scoring enough considering. But they are 2-0. They are 2-0. They did get that free square week 1 against Gyprock State University. Which, by the way, again, Gyprock State, if you have questions, you want to learn about the game, feel free to contact us.
All right, Group B.
I like this next group.
Baby Rays, Don't Blink, Bananas, Dime Squad, MTL, Red Blacks.
yeah, this despite having a Bananas and a Dime Squad team at 1 and 2,
But
they're good.
don't sleep on Bananas.
I know. That's
Don't
why I'm saying.
slip on bananas. Thanks, peas.
Don't sleep on Bananas. They're uncomfortable.
I wouldn't use them as a pillow.
Um,
No, that's it. Despite their 1 and
Yeah.
2 records, both teams, they're not bad actually. Dime Squad's played right after me a couple times in Bay Durfee, and they look good. They just got beat up by LaSalle Warriors midget,
Yeah.
like we saw last week on the show. But they're athletic. They got a pick 6 on like the second play of the game. Like they're
well, Anthony Adona's really talented.
and no, sorry, I'm talking about Dime Squad.
Oh, my
and then
yeah.
equally
So I'll go to Bananas.
and equally Bananas.
Anthony Adona reached out for some play calls.
Yeah.
Mike Adona runs the same offense or similar offense that we run as well. So he's going to be getting those plays to Michael Orlando. Michael Orlando needs to chill and not look to run constantly. But again, given that they have Adam Parasuku, who's insanely fast, they have Anthony Adona, who's one of the better players in this division,
Mm-hmm.
who's to me, if the team is at least competent, he's a shoo-in for an all-star. He's already got 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions through
Wow.
3 games.
Okay.
So if he ends the season 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, he might be 2A player of the year, right? So they have that capacity. Now Montreal Red Blacks are the
struggling.
lowest team in this tier, but they've scored 42 points through 3 games. That's not incompetent.
Bad.
They played Dime Squad, who you like a lot. They played Betway Bandits, who I was a big fan of last season, and they played a close game against Don't Blink.
And it's Liam Gilmore again throwing, so he's throwing in 5 and Division 6.
Yeah. So that should help.
Interesting.
They've been all right. All things considered, they've been all right.
Right.
What's the next grouping?
All right, Group C: Habibis, Fiddlers, Betway Bandits, Toon Squad, Gru's Crew.
So this too is really good. The Habibis, by the way, it's Zach Stacy also throwing in Division 6 with Nick DeMalo and David Weiss. It's like, oh, okay, they're gonna be good.
Yeah, Fiddlers the name gives me the creeps.
So it's a couple of guys from the Melons of years
but Manny
past.
Bazogias is throwing. I like him
Exactly.
better as a receiver.
Yeah,
I think if they had like a steady quarterback, and
Which they
Manny
didn't
Bazogias
have.
playing receiver, they don't have. I know.
it was Alejandro Fonte was the most stable
Yeah.
of quarterbacks. But look, he's giving it a shot. We praised Ryan Dobbs.
Yeah, just like, but you're losing a guy who's such a good receiver.
yes,
Right.
Yeah.
And I've been a big fan of Leo Diakomakos,
Yep.
Nino Lombardi as well.
Yeah.
Both guys who can have an impact on both sides of the ball in this
Yeah.
division. So
Yeah, Betway Bandits.
Fiddlers and Betway Bandits is maybe the second and third best teams in here.
Yeah,
And even Toon Squad again, kind of a mid-pack team, but a mid-pack team that might be the 4th best team in your
yes.
your
This
subdivision?
this to me, this is the hardest one.
yeah. And then Gru's Crew is gonna struggle, I think.
All right, Group D: X-Men, Wind Diesel, Top G, Pigeon, Threat Level Midnight, Trailer Park Boys.
That's good.
It's an athletic division.
Athletic division with experience, because you have Trailer Midnight and Trailer Park Boys bringing division to the proceedings.
Yeah,
Wind Diesel we talked about ad nauseum. X-Men coming in with a full playbook, chemistry, having played together in junior, athleticism.
and
Top G
coaching.
are incredibly athletic as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And big, physical
Yes,
as
yes,
well.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, that one's gonna be a fun group to follow for sure.
Yeah, I like that, and I don't know a lot about pigeons.
I don't know anything.
They're not very tasty.
It's a
They
weird
shit
team
everywhere.
name. I don't know a single player on the team.
They're maybe from LaSalle.
Maybe.
You should know them. They're all Italian.
These jokes don't land well
okay.
when Peace doesn't have a headset.
I don't hear anything either.
Oh, because I was like, pigeons. Oh,
They're tasty.
They're tasty.
Yeah.
They shit everywhere.
Yeah.
He missed all of it.
Yeah.
Right over his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, not
Just-
all Italians know each other, man.
I know. Yeah.
I would guess I'm also double their age.
I'm doing that thing where it's 11 o'clock at night and I'm just
Yeah.
spitting out facts.
I know,
Group
I know.
E:
We're getting there. Almost done. Go for it.
Back to the Future, Slippery Slopes, Wild Hogs, Mountain Dew Babies, FA Squad, and Seatown Spice.
Ooh, this one's the struggling division. Other than I think Back to the Future.
Wild Hogs are kind of plucky with our boy playing quarterback.
Who? Plucky?
Yeah, Jason Armenti.
Oh, and Wild Hogs. Yeah.
And Wild Hogs.
No,
they're
they're
gonna be a top middle tier team, I think.
yes. I think them and Dak to the Future are going to be standouts in this group.
Don't like Back to the Future's name. Too fantasy.
Yeah. But as a team playing flag, they're looking all right so far. I mean the Wild Hogs, their loss came to Baby Ray, so not the end of the world, and then they beat up on Toon Squad with some FBF experience. I think those two teams are gonna somewhat steamroll through the division.
Even then, I don't know if Back to the Future will steamroll. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah,
I think they'll be fine.
but the rest are gonna struggle.
This one's fun.
And our last group, LaSalle Warriors Midget, Dewey Molasses, Practice Squad 6, Demons, the Royals, and the Texas Chooches.
I thought Royals would be better.
Yeah, me too.
I have a lot of hope for Ryan McGrath, but I guess a quarterback doesn't make a team by himself, right?
Plus losses to Baby Rays and Dewey Molasses by 1 point.
Yeah, it's a tough
So-
schedule to start. And they have
so-
Betway Bandits next, Time Squad, LaSalle. Oh my God.
Yeah, they have a really tough schedule. I wrote about this in my article. So
Yeah.
so more info on there for sure. Like they have a tough schedule.
And how are Texas Chooches? You played with them.
New quarterback, a guy who has some MFL flag experience, but not as a quarterback. He's giving it out. I gave him some of the plays that we
I
that
was
we
gonna say,
run.
did you add him to the family tree?
Yes, he's now an extension.
But he has a terrible name for quarterback.
Tyler Cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cousins.
Because all our games are at night. So
Prime time.
yeah, it's a
Prime time.
problem.
Show
It's a
up,
problem.
Tyler. Yeah, it was especially tough given that like 5 subs that had never played flag came to play and didn't know what a 10-yard hook was, and like a fly was, do I keep running downfield? It's when those things are being asked in the huddle, that's going to be tough.
Dov Vaz giving it so I think what we decided was the top end of
Yes.
Group F is great.
Yeah.
But Group D being really strong and Group C being really strong as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. Finally, Div 2. When will Get Skills win their first? When will they get their first win?
It's going to be harder and harder as the night goes on.
I'm exhausted, man. Terror Squad, Vengeance, KGP, Braves 2.0 are their next games.
The
Is it next week or never?
I
jeez.
think so. I think it's
You think they're winning this week?
they need to, or else they don't get a win the rest
That's
of
a
the season.
different question that I didn't ask.
No, it's this week. It's next
But
week.
do you think they'll win this week?
Oh, sorry.
was my question.
Yes, it'll be close, but yes, I'll give them the edge.
I will say,
You
God
can-
Skills in the past they've won games you don't expect, but that's just a rough run of games.
Yeah.
And and then they get blessed in week 10. By then, I think blessed will be more settled in the division.
Yeah.
Yeah. They should have beat Touch 4-5-0.
Yes, that one's gonna hurt. Now they're gonna look back and they're like, "Damn it, we didn't make the playoffs because
So how
Game
many
one.
wins for God Skills?
max 2." Max
Killer
3.
Bees?
Max 3. Yeah, it's a toss up with the Killer Bees.
Yeah.
3 and 7. That's that Got Skills was like high up there in a couple years ago, and I don't know,
But again,
giving them
it's
3 and 7. That's rough.
like
But
Nick and Dave Santom were amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have Dave Deschamps, who's a solid player. Laurent Foucault was amazing.
Yeah.
But it's just that again, there are these quote unquote super the combination of these quote unquote super teams, just really well built rosters, combined with guys like Joe Mayu and
Kevin White
Kevin Wyatt throwing in Division 2.
and KGP, having now played.
And then you have again just teams that work well together like Moretti and KGP.
Mhm.
To your point.
I'm going max 3 wins. That's tough to say, but I think that's the reality.
Kevin Wyeth, we discussed that ad nauseum last week. He's on pace for 73 touchdowns. He's got 22 so far. Is he going to obliterate the touchdown passing record? And should there be a rule that just Kevin Wyeth can't throw in Division 2? By the way, there was a comment that, like, Wyeth is not the GOAT because he's throwing in Division 2. He's also throwing in Division 2. So it's said wrong. He's throwing in Division 1. He's also throwing in Division 2.
Yeah.
And he's destroying Division 2.
And it should be said, he's the GOAT, and he's throwing in Division 2.
Yeah.
It's
I think that's more the issue.
I think what people also don't realize is that given that his cap hit is so high as quarterback, which hits your offense, it also means you have to go find underrated receivers so you can build a Division 2 team because, one, you're using up 94 points of the cap. Two, you're penalizing your overall team cap because you're way over the Div 2 cap.
How much are they being penalized? These?
It's like 20 points or something like that.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you have
that's
20 points less.
considerable.
Something to that degree. So not only are you eating up a lot, you're also penalizing the rest of the team. So yeah, the rest of your receiving core are budget receivers, and I say that.
The
but I
budget,
mean,
the budget
James
receivers are
Drysdale.
James Drysdale, Michael Kazaka,
Lanny
Antonio Lanny,
brothers.
and the Submergents.
but I mean, this is the type of roster.
Budget receivers.
This is the type of roster you
Quote
need
'em.
to build to
Yeah.
fit this team, right?
It's
You
just
don't
guys
have
who
any
haven't
Pat
played Division
Jeromes.
1 yet, or just got to Division 1
or
in case
are
of
playing
Submergents.
Division 1.
Yeah,
But that's
we
it.
Just,
You
we just got there basically.
Yeah.
You don't have your Mike Persains, you don't have your AJ Gomes, you don't have your Pat Jeromes of the world.
Matt Kerouac. What do you mean you don't have your
Okay,
Mike
but
Piacenza?
But he's old. He's old and slow.
Not the same.
He's like 19 kids now.
He had fun in Div 4.
He's not the same guy.
He subbed for me.
Yeah.
In Div 4.
He always
had
eats
fun.
up the lower divisions when he plays there.
Yes, he's gonna hit 70 touchdowns. Damn, yeah.
Yeah.
He will.
What is the record, Eagle, for a season?
In the mic, please. Speak in the mic.
Oh, what is the record for a season?
For a single season in terms of touchdowns,
Yeah.
individual season records, it is controlled by Kevin Wyeth at 66, followed by Kevin Wyeth at 65, followed by Kevin Wyeth at 63.
Yeah, I see the argument for someone else being the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he adds another one to that list.
Yeah, he's gonna bust it. That's crazy. 70.
He's thrown 2 interceptions though. Kind of slacking.
11 to 1. He's the new norm.
We unfortunately
know-
don't have a record for most interceptions in a season. It's going to be a lot, though.
Oh man, he's gonna hit 70.
I think he will.
Holy crap.
They've not scored less than 44 points against Party Crushers Blue, who are a version of a Division 1 team as well,
Yep.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
and they play touch foot 4-5-0. Killer Bees got skills. Moretti is that's a rough matchup for Moretti. Like, we talk about how good they are as a team, but
Yeah.
that's gonna be tough for
Yeah.
them.
Well, it's gonna be tough for anyone going up against Wyeth. But it's cool in some way to face off against
Yeah.
Kevin Wyeth.
Yeah,
You're like, okay, that's what all the talk's about.
yeah. It's it's impressive to see at field level.
Instead of us coming to you, Kevin Wyeth is coming
Come
down
to you,
to play you.
He comes to your house and then knocks over all your furniture and breaks your plates,
He is the one who
eats all your
knocks.
food.
He is the one who knocks.
Yeah. Who needs to win more Monday night? KGP or Run It Once?
KGP is 1-2. Run It Once is 2-1. So why do we think that Run It Once absolutely need the win more?
I didn't ask the question. I was surprised to see Run It Once in Mo's question there. Maybe it's because of upcoming. Maybe it's because of the upcoming schedule.
So you take a look at KGPs.
Yeah. I
or Run It Once. Yeah. I already have KGPs open.
Okay,
so
good. So they face each other.
Sure.
But then after that, Run It Once has Party Crashes, Blue Moretti, Blessed, Rajan Smith-Zik. I don't think they're out of it in any of these games, though.
KGP has a tougher one. God Skills, Terror Squad, Braves 2.0, Vengeance, Moretti, and then Touch Foot.
So for 2 reasons,
Yes.
KGP needs it more.
Yes.
Um,
Harder schedule and the 1-2 start.
Yeah, they lost to Blessed. Blessed again had a rough week 1, but already looking more like themselves.
Yep. They got wrecked by Urgence Medzik.
Yeah, but again, we talked about Origins Midzik is a Division 1 team playing in Division 2.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They're ducking.
Yep.
So it's fine. And again, it's
4
also
weeks in a row.
also week 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, Urgence Midzik, like, they looking at what they've done so far, they're another team, like, they've also not scored less than 40.
Yeah. But to put up 18, that was Cutler
But week 1. Throw it out. Throw
Yeah.
out week 1.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Yeah, it was Kwesi Gordon Mall throwing in week 1. That's why
And
18 points. Yeah, that's fine.
Quasi's getting better and better, but he's not Div 2 yet.
Yeah,
So,
he would agree with that. I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Eagle, let's do it.
Games of the week.
make this tight.
Yay.
Go first.
I'll go first.
Division 4, In and Out to Heartbreak Kids.
Heartbreak Kids.
Heartbreak Kids.
Vultures, Ball Don't Lie.
Ball.
Ball.
Golden Eagles, Reet.
Reed.
Reed.
Voodoo, Fourth and Schlong.
4th and Schlong.
Fourth.
Jets Plane, Blue Dreamers.
Blue Dreamers.
PD.
Mengoose, Hot Sauce Sports.
Can't pick it. Hot Sauce Sports by 50.
I'll go hot sauce.
Sheriff, Bruins.
Sheriff. Yeah, give me
Bruins.
Sheriff.
Bruins.
Friends with Danny, Besset et ses potes.
Bissett.
Friends.
Top G's, Diamond Bougie.
Diamond Bougie.
Yeah, I'll go Diamond Bougie.
Les Bébés Magiques, Kiss My In-Laws.
In-laws.
Tank Picket.
Cunning Stunts, Hot Sauce Sports.
Can't pick it. Hot Sauce Sports by 50.
Cunning Stunts.
Mofos, Wide Open Bar.
Mofos.
Mofo. Tiamoko Sanogo Mofos.
Balls Deep, Still Crate.
Still great.
Balls deep.
Les Bleus Branlards, Trap Stars.
Trap Stars.
Trap Stars.
All right, Co-Ed Division 2, Badgers, Deep Balls.
Badgers.
Badgers.
Fireball, Flamingos.
Fireball.
Fireball.
Kiss My End Zone, Team Rocket.
End zone.
Can't pick it.
Bench Warmers, the IG team.
Bench warmers.
Bench warmers.
Fit Squad, Hungry Hippos.
Fit squad.
Fit squad.
Block Party, the Villains.
The villains.
Villains.
Flashbang Team, Fighting Tigers.
Tigers.
Fighting Tigers.
Division 1, Flagmore Sack, Bulldogs.
FMS.
Flag.
Double Straddle, Braves.
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 Kangaroos, All-Stars.
Ooh, fun. Oh, give me Kangaroos.
All Stars.
KGP Plus, Party Crashers.
Plus.
Plus.
Co-Ed 3, Fast Not Furious 3, Canucule.
3.
FNF.
Michael Scott's Tots, Half and Half.
Half and half.
Michael Scott Stotts.
Block Party, Paquer.
Puck hair.
Paquet.
Sneaky Snakes, La Secte.
Lasek.
Lasek. 5-0.
Lasek's winning a championship.
5A, Save the Turftles, Glory Boys.
Turfed.
Turfed.
Rico Riders, Red Knot Skins.
Not.
Red. Not skins.
Buffalo Wild Wings, Him University.
Him.
Buffalo.
Big Fat Batch, the Tokyo Sandblasters.
BFB.
BFB.
No Friend Zone, Ice Up.
Ice up.
Can't pick it.
Les Petits Carottes, The Process.
Petit Cat.
LPC.
5B, Red Dragons, no pun intended.
Red Dragons.
Go Red Dragons.
Brewers, Team Sexy.
Sexy.
Show the sexy.
Stormers, Bleu. Blues.
Stormers.
Stormers.
Him You, Vic in a Box.
Him you.
Vic.
No pun intended, Cover 3.
Cover 3.
No punt.
Les Bleus Dry, What Could Have Been.
What could have been?
Good matchup. What could have
There's
been?
a fun one on that.
Green Monster, Pocket Rockets.
Green Monster.
Green Monster.
Primetime Bulldogs.
Primetime.
Go Primetime.
Ball So Hard You, Warriors.
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 Wolf, Primal.
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 Co-Ed Division 1, Kiss My Outlaws, Ballbusters.
Outlaws.
Outlaws.
Power Rangers, Party Mix.
Fun. Power Rangers. Old
Power
school.
Rangers.
Girl Scouts, Les Bleus.
Les Bleus.
Girl Scouts.
Les Petits Fuck, Free Smoke.
Free Smoke.
LPP.
Power Rangers, Fast Not Furious.
Fast Not Furious.
Fast and Furious.
Fast Not Furious, The Justice League.
Justice League.
Fast and Furious.
The Justice League, Easy Fun.
Justice League.
Justice League.
Division 3, ECW, The Infantry.
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 Air Force 1, Mangoose.
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 KGP Raw, Beer Belly Brigade.
Triple B.
BBB.
Junkyard Dogs, Alpha Dogs.
No, you said it wrong.
No,
Junkyard Dogs, Alpha Dogs.
There you go. You gotta
what I
do,
said.
Alpha Dogs has to be louder because it's all caps. Junkyard Dogs.
JYD.
We have
Blue Chips.
Blue Chips Preach. I lost my place. Thanks, Peace.
Blue Chips.
Preach.
Bearskins, Blues Clues.
Skins.
Bearskins.
Mongoose, Jif.
Mongoose.
Mongoose.
Les Gros Coqs, Les Vercheval.
Bercheval.
Gros coq.
Une phrase bien fournie, Arouche.
Rouge.
A rouge. False kings.
That's what she said, Backyard Bullies.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Division 1 for women's, Montreal U, Bees.
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 Brut, Fleur de Lis.
Brut.
Fleur de lis.
Ghosted, Torrents.
Ghosted.
Ghosted.
Torrents, Bleu Pou.
Blue Poop.
Bleu pou.
Fit Squad, Vortex.
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 Bleu Pou, Les Bleus.
Les Bleus.
Les bleus. Close.
Division 2 women's, Lynxette, Wildcats.
Sync set.
Set.
Wolfpack, Phoenix.
Wolfpack.
Phoenix.
Lilou Steelers.
Lelu. No, Steelers.
Steelers.
Red Nation Extreme Bullets.
Red Nation.
Red Nation.
You learned your lesson?
Carababe Liibu.
Carababes.
Carababes.
All right, 35 plus JMJ FPF.
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 Polvige Paramount.
Polvish.
Paramount.
Pacemakers Monster.
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 Gladiator Rainmakers.
Gladiator.
Gladiator.
Division 6 Seatown Spice Trailer Park Boys.
Sorry, what was it?
Seatown Spice Trailer Park
I'm
Boys.
falling asleep. Trailer Park Boys.
the boys.
Baby Rays Dewey Molasses.
Sweet Baby Rays.
Baby Rays.
FA Squad Slippery Slopes.
Slippery Slope.
FA Squad.
Top G Pigeons.
Top G.
Top G.
Win Diesel Texas Chooches.
Win Diesel.
Win Diesel.
Dime Squad Demons.
Dime Squad.
Dime Squad.
Mountain Dew Babies Wild Hogs.
Wild Hogs.
Wild Hogs.
Threat Level Midnight Why So Serious.
TLM.
TLM.
The Habibis No Fly Zone.
The Habibis.
Habibis.
Towers FT Maccabees.
Towers FT.
Maccabees.
Back to the Future X-Men.
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 Fiddlers Bananas.
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 The Royals Betway Bandits.
Betway.
Betway.
And Division 2 Got Skills Terror Squad.
Got Terror
It's
Squad.
close. It's really close. God skills.
Blessed Party Crashers Blue.
Blessed.
Blessed.
Braves 2.0 Killer Bees.
Braves.
Braves.
Party Crashers Blue Moretti Crime Family.
We're ready.
We're ready.
KGP Run It Once.
Run it once.
KGP.
Touch Foot 450 Vengeance.
Vengeance.
Oh. But this was the show.
I am shot.
I thought I did have to go to the washroom earlier. My back, my side is in immense pain. I thought I was like having holding my pee in, and I thought that was the pain, and I forgot. Nope, I have just pain from falling yesterday on the concrete at
Be
Bader
careful,
Fay.
man.
I made a pick. I got an interception, and I'm like on the 1-inch padding, and then took a slip on the cement.
Yeah.
You know, Iggy, you should have checked your emails. You're supposed to be careful for the sidelines.
There's no netting there. That's not what. It's on the wrong side of the netting.
Yeah.
But you're
Just-
supposed to assume there's always someone on the other side
Yes,
of the field.
not the cement.
You have soon just cement on the other side of the field.
Ouch.
Well, thank you for everything you've done today.
Thank you.
It's a long show.
Good night.
Thank you for everyone who's reached out. The players who've reached out to come
Yeah.
talk to us, and it helps us cover the league. It really does.
Yeah, a lot of players, by the way, for the three of us, they really said Thomas Coutu, Zach Stacy, love the show, want to hear you guys on Fridays, and part of their routine. I
Yeah.
know Felix Boutet is another one. It's part of their routine. They love the show, so the work's being noticed for sure.
No, for sure, and it's super appreciated. We do this because we love it, and we're happy that it's appreciated by the community. We appreciate you, and from when we started doing the show, it's never something we had to do. It's value we added to our community, to our customers, because of how important you are all to our community. So thank you for that, Eagle. Thank you for everything you did today. Thanks for the coffee. Thanks for the
Yeah.
Christmas gift. And most of all, thank you all for letting me be myself.